Already a winner.
You can feel the flow, the wave, as it will, as spreads are being covered or not covered.
George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law presented Fan Madness at the Stadium Sports Bar at the A Sportsbook. A, make every buzzer beater, bracket buster, and Cinderella run mean more at A Sportsbook. We'll see you next year for Fan Madness with 1080.
It's on Odyssey. You guys covering this bad boy?
The Fan. Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube.
You're watching every movement that we make if you want to see it.
I didn't do my hair. I wore a hat in.
Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand. The home of Colin Cowherd, always live on the Odyssey app, is KFXX KWJJ HD2 Portland. 1080 The Fan, an Odyssey sports station. The latest tips and equipment to improve your game. The latest from the leaderboards and your favorite courses. This is Golf in the Northwest, an action-packed hour about everything golf. Now, here's your host for Golf in the Northwest, Jason Swigard.
And a fine good morning to you all. Don't let the weather deter you. It is golf season. We got a busy hour. How you doing there, Will?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I am good. Trying to transition with the seasons and
trying to get into your golf baseball era.
Yeah. Baseball season got underway.
Your Dodgers,
My Doyers
doing Dodger things.
How
does it feel to be the
feels
most
good?
success? Well, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. The most wealthy team in the MLB.
Look, there's certain teams, and you just need to do it. You have to be smart about it. I mean, the Yankees have done dumb things. The Mets continue to do dumb things, spending just as much, if not more.
I will give you that. It seems as though the Dodgers have the ability to actually read the room on talent, where the Yankees basically just chase whatever's shiny.
They chase, and the Dodgers also they also put a ton of money into developing young talent as well, and they'll find it. They'll go anywhere in the world, and when they find it, they're willing to pay for it. But they want to make sure they find it first, and so I appreciate that. So yeah, could be a lot of fun, really fun season, and so yeah, it's cool. Just you get a walk off last night from Mookie, who's starting to put weight back on. Apparently, he can eat food again. That was the weirdest damn thing ever.
He looked real thin in that uniform, which, by the way, I will give you guys this. That gold looks
awesome.
Friggin' cool.
They know how to do some ceremonies there in Los Angeles. They know how to celebrate. So, yes. Okay. I will not, I won't do that. Yeah, that's not what people want to hear here for this next hour, but it is cranking up. The first majors on the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour are right around the corner. Great fields and leaderboards at their events, so we're going to get into that. Also going to hear from some of the top players, pulled some audio from some of their post-round comments from yesterday. They got weather has fouled things up in Houston. They have finally finished round 2 early this morning. Round 3 is just teeing off. They're going to go off split tees with threesomes there, trying to catch up. Looks like Mother Nature is going to cooperate there. And so we will get into the tours and start some of the top players, as the first majors are just a few weeks away for both the PGA and LPGA tours. A couple of local names we're keeping an eye on as well. But very excited at 8:30 in the business of golf. Steve Vansel is the associate professional out at Arrowhead Golf Course, but he has had quite a career with golf, around golf, as a competitor, as a coach. And this is going to go as long as I can keep him on the phone, because there's about 4 or 5 different parts to his golf journey in his life. One, how he got started, because it wasn't traditional. He played a lot of other sports, just like so many kids growing up that were in my era did. You played everything. If you were an athlete, you just played whatever was in season. And then eventually you would, down the road, you would just excel at one over most of the others. and you would kind of then gravitate towards that, but not till you were deep into high school and those sorts of things. But he got the golf bug a little bit later, and then didn't play college golf, tried, didn't, kept at it, took a run at the Canadian Tour for a couple of years, then came back, was a high school math teacher, and then also coached golf and some other sports, but stayed competitive. Got into speed golf. For those that don't know, it combines cross-country running and playing golf at the same time, which sounds insane. It's the summertime version of the biathlon, which is the most insane Olympic sport that there truly is. You cross-country ski and then shoot a rifle.
I feel like he is of a story that we don't really have anymore.
I know.
In modern sports, which is
he's a true self-made competitor. He just got back in November. He went to Japan for the World Speed Golf Championships. Not the first time he's gone to the World Championships. Got a medal. Yeah. Went with his daughter now, who is she medaled as well. And now he also, developed some coaching programs for high school golfers. So if you have a younger golfer, I have about 17 roads I want to go down with Steve. So that'll be 8:30 as long as I can keep him on the phone. That's going to be a long interview, folks. Just settle in.
Yeah, he getting good at something later in life. I mean, the only kind of example I can think of, it's not so much later, but like Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan's a great example because he didn't really even play.
He was a swimmer.
Yeah, he was a swimmer, and then when
just out there in the ocean in the Virgin Islands,
shoulder injury, and they were like, "You got to play something else."
All right. Somebody found it was like, "Oh, you're 6'10". Oh. Have you seen this round orange basketball and that big rim up there? Yeah,
Why don't you try shooting it? Look at that! It went in.
Well, why don't we try dunking it for? Oh, okay. There we go.
I think we got something here.
I think we got something here. We'll talk to Steve. Very excited about that. And whatever other tidbits, some news. If you haven't seen, the USGA has signed up with Sun River for 4 new USGA championships. Oregon's going to be hosting a lot of these over the next decade, between Portland Golf Club, Waverly Golf Club, Sun River, and Bandon Dunes. So we've got so many, and you know that growing up here, playing golf here, so many great facilities, championship facilities that we have the opportunity to play. So that's what's going on over the next hour. So we'll break away from the brackets and the start of baseball season here for a little bit as you indulge me. But as always, we get started by going inside the ropes.
It's time for an insider's look at the leaderboards, the latest on all tours, plus local golf events and golf news. This is Inside the Ropes, part of Golf in the Northwest.
4 major tours in action. The DP World Tour is in India. The Hero Indian Open in New Delhi. They are through 3 rounds. Eugenio Chacarra of Spain is your leader at 3 under par. Just 1 shot. Only 5 players under par. He's 309th in the official world golf rankings. Troy Merritt, American player, he's there at par, but most of the top international players are making their way over to the States as they're getting ready if they are in the Masters. But that is going on. If you're up in the middle of the night, part of the Asian swing of the DP World Tour, and you need some live golf, that'll be there for you probably like 1 a.m. So you never know. You've got little ones. Sometimes you got little ones, you're up. You just want something that's live, that looks familiar, that you can hopefully put everybody back to sleep with.
Oh,
I'm going to guess the Hero Open in India might do it for you, Will.
No, I don't think so.
Would you get enthralled with that?
I might not get enthralled.
Eugenio Chacarra of Spain.
Though I will say, because we cut the cord, we get the Apple TV now, and then they show these images. These
is it Serenity Now?
Aerial, shots.
Oh, okay.
And I've definitely had moments where I'll wake up and just watch those, and then I'll go to bed.
All righty.
No.
The Champions Tour is at Mission Hills Country Club in Rancho Mirage, California, for the Gallery Classic presented by Spotlight 29 Casino. That sounds like a fun place to hang out. In a shocking development, Bernhard Langer is in the lead, tied with Cameron Percy at 5 under par. If anybody is taking a run at Father Time, it is Bernhard Langer, who is now 67 years young. He owns the record for the most Champions Tour victories at 47, 2 clear of Hale Irwin, looking for his 48th. He got through an Achilles injury last year that took him off tour for a while. Didn't play in this event last year. In 2023, finished tied for 19th. But there you go, an opening round 67, tied with Cameron Percy, who is just 50, just out there. It's his 21st start. He's still looking for his first PGA Tour Champions victory. They will have coverage starting at noon. And this is the country club that used to host the first major for the LPGA Tour. So when they moved and Chevron came in, took over title sponsorship, moved it to Houston. Mission Hills was looking for. It's a great facility out there. So the Champions Tour is out there. Jason Karan, Tongchai JD, Richard Green, one shot back at 4 under. Last year's champion Retief Goosenin with a 1 under 71. So some nice names. Miguel Angel Jimenez got the win last week on the Champions Tour. And so there you go if you're looking to follow them. Noon on Golf Channel is when you can see round 2 coverage. The LPGA is back in the United States after their early Asian swing. They are at the Ford Championships. They are playing the Cattail course at Whirlwind Golf Club in Chandler, Arizona. And oh my goodness, they went low. Great leaderboard. 9 of the top 10 players in the World Golf Rankings are in this event. The 2023 Player of the Year, however, Lilia Vu, after Nelly Korda and Gino Titakun went out, posted 12 under in the morning. Lilia Vu went 64 in her round in the afternoon for an 8 under with a score of 130. That ties the 36-hole record for this event, 14 under par. 2 shots clear. It's a great leaderboard, though. We mentioned Titakun and Nelly Korda. Nelly's still looking for her first victory this season. Then Nana Kurtz Madsen out of Denmark and Charlie Hull from England, all at 12 under par. Ayaka Furui of Japan is at 10 under. Se-Young Kim there as well. Lydia Ko at 9 under, tied with Nasa Haraoka. Allison Corpuz at 9 under as well. So this is an outstanding leaderboard. And then a local player, Gigi Stoll, the pride of Beaverton High School, her second year on tour, played in some events in 2024. Finished just outside the points, but went to the final round of LPGA Q School and finished in the top 10, got her tour card. And so she is in the mix, 6 under par, a couple of 3 under 69s, has had a nice start to the season for her. And so it's been her putting that's in her short game, her approaching. So not the longest off the tee by any stretch of the imagination. But at 28 years old, we remember her in college playing so well, had a win on the Epson Tour, the feeder tour a couple of years ago, but finished tied for 17th in China at the Blue Bay event, tied for 34th. So made 2 cuts in 2 events so far, and wish her the best of luck moving forward. We're going to hear, though, from some of the top players, their post-round comments. They have gotten started early rounds. The leaders are going to tee off more between noon and 1. Gigi Stoll will go off at 10:30 this morning. Coverage picks up on Golf Channel at 3 o'clock this afternoon down there in Arizona. So afternoon coverage. You can put that on the second screen as you're enjoying Elite 8 action. The PGA Tour, 2 more events before the Masters. This is a big one because after the event here, Texas Children's Houston Open from Memorial Park Golf Course in Houston. So the top 50 ranked players in the world that have not otherwise qualified for the Masters will get in. So you have J.J. Spaun, who's 27th in the world right now. He will be in. I don't even know if he's in the field this week, but he will be in, playing so well of late. But guys like Steven Yeager, he should get into the field. He's tied for 16th right now at 6 under par. But everybody was wondering when Scotty Scheffler was going to start looking like Scotty Scheffler, and it's in Texas of all places. He fired a 8 under 62 to get it to 11 under par. He's got a one-shot lead over Taylor Pendrith and Minwoo Lee and Ryan Gerard. Now, Pendrith and Minwoo Lee have already qualified for the Masters. Minwoo Lee is a guy, if you're thinking about a Masters like off-the-radar bet, he's been playing better of late, still looking for that first PGA Tour victory. But he pulled off some miraculous stuff. If you watched that Tiger Golf League, the TGL, the indoor thing, if that caught your attention at all, he was clutch a lot of times with some wizardry with his wedge. And so that will come into play. The leaderboard here is quite nice with a lot of familiar names. Our boy Kashmir Keith Mitchell in the mix at 7 under. You got Jaeger at 6 under. Rory McIlroy had a nice finish, birdied 3 of the last 4 to get to 4 under, made the cut. The cut was 3 under. Ricky Fowler made the cut on the number. He needs to win one of these last 2 events in order to qualify for the Masters. So a lot going on there. They have just started play in round 3. They had to finish up round 2. They had a lot of rain, lightning in rounds 1 and 2, but they got it finished up, and it looks like they're going to be able to get back on schedule. Mother Nature cooperating a little more for them. So can Scotty get his first win of the season after his amazing year in 2024 and start to dial it up? Ginormous green complexes here with a lot of undulation, so they can start to get a feel for the putter and getting things dialed in for Augusta. There's not a lot of deep rough. There is pine straw that they can get used to. So there's a lot of characteristics to this golf course that resemble conditions when they get to Augusta in a couple of weeks. So 10 a.m. it will pick up on Golf Channel, and then NBC KGW will have 3rd and 4th round play starting at noon both today and tomorrow and take you home. But we'll see if Scotty Scheffler, we'll hear from him. Some comments from him, from Rory, as well as from the top players on the LPGA, and some names you need to know. We will go there next. Steve Vansel from Arrowhead Golf Club is going to join us at 8:30 for the business of golf as well. Just getting started here on this last Saturday in March, as it is golf season right around the corner. The weather's going to pick up, folks. I tell you it is. It's coming soon. So lots to come here as we get started. This is Golf in the Northwest on 1080 The Fan. And publishes, it's the Golf Travel Wire newsletter, e-blog, whatever you want to call it, comes out. He's going to join us next Saturday because I know the specific golf travel trips are starting to become more and more of a thing, golf travel. And there's a lot of pockets, not only in the United States, but now in the world, places that you don't already know are golf meccas that are catering to your golf trips. So we want to find out a little bit more about how to go about planning a proper trip, and what you're looking for, what you need to budget for, and what you need to be aware of if you're going international as well. So glad to talk to him. Steve Vancil from Arrowhead Golf Club coming up at the bottom of the hour. But we mentioned we are getting ready for the first majors for both the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour. Masters will be up first. Scotty Scheffler trying to play his way into form. And he is in the lead. He will tee off, I think, around 11-ish today. They're going threesomes off both tees, trying to catch up after finishing the second round this morning. But a great round, an 8-under round yesterday. But he talked about the first round. It was interrupted. There was rain. There was lightning. There was wind. And then things settled down for him. He had the better of it playing, got his round all finished up early on Friday. Talked about playing in all of those changing conditions.
Well, yesterday was challenging in the sense of the changing conditions. So you had rain and wind, and the wind direction was changing as well. So there was a lot of challenges out there today. Golf course is playing a bit easier just based on the weather conditions, and it can be challenging in a sense of like when the conditions are that good, guys are going to be shooting low, and so it's important. It was important for me to stay patient out there, and it was nice to get off to a good start and kind of hold the momentum and keep a clean card.
And he did keep a clean card. He's the only player bogey-free through 36 holes. And a lot of that has to do with his putter. That's the difference for him. He's going to strike it well. He's one of the best iron players on tour. But when he starts rolling them in, that's when he can do special things.
Well, yeah, I felt like I was hitting so many good putts, especially at the Players, putts that were just going right around the edge. And, today was a day in which I felt like my ball striking could have been a bit better, and I was able to hole some putts. I hit a lot of greens, but I felt like my irons were maybe just barely off, and I felt like I could have been hitting them a little bit closer to the hole. But overall, kept it on the green, kept giving myself looks, and the way I was putting, I didn't feel like I had to force them there by any pins if I wasn't totally comfortable with the shot, and so good results.
That's a scary thing for the rest of the field. Yet to win on tour this year, but he is the betting favorite right now, plus 350 to win at the Masters. Rory McIlroy is the second favorite. He is a sentimental favorite because he needs the Masters to complete the career Grand Slam. He's been searching for it. He's had some nice wins early on in the season, a two-time winner already. But we know Rory at any given time, can start to hit it sideways a little bit. Talked about his second round. He finished with 3 birdies in his last 4 holes. He got to 4 under. He's in the field. And is that enough to build a little momentum and maybe go low in round 3?
I hit it a little better coming in. I held a couple of putts. That was it. Again, it's this sort of golf course where it's easy to just make a ton of pars. Not a lot of trouble out there. But you just need some putts to go in to obviously make birdies, and started back off the suspension with a 3-putt par on the 8th hole, and hit some better shots coming in, and it was nice to see a couple putts go in and get finished and obviously get a couple more rounds here over the weekend.
So he'll get a couple more rounds in. He's always very honest with where his game's at, what he's working on. But I think the way he's been playing, Rory's always won. The more challenging the conditions, the more challenging, whether it's the weather, whether it's the course setup as well. His ability, it forces him to concentrate more, because when things are just wide open for him and he just tries to grip it and rip it and go after it and intentionally trying to shoot a low score is when he tends to get himself into more trouble. As for the betting favorites at the Masters right now, Scheffler there at plus 350, Rory at plus 650, Xander Schauffele 10-1, Jon Rahm 11-1. Yes, we will finally see some of these live golfers that are qualified as previous winners or previous top 10s, last year top 10 or whatever the case with the Masters. And so you've got Ludwig Oberg at 14-1, Colin Morikawa 18-1, along with Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas. Be interesting to see. We haven't seen a lot from them. I mentioned Minwoo Lee, 80-1 right now. You can get Minwoo Lee if you're looking for a little flyer, want to sprinkle a couple of bucks, and maybe take somebody that's been flirting around the top of leaderboards. Might just be a guy, certainly a guy you could see going out. There's always a random name on top of the leaderboard at the Masters in week 1. Might not hurt you to sprinkle a little there. We also mentioned the LPGA Tour. They are 3 or 4 weeks away from the Chevron Championship. I think they have 3 tournaments here on the West Coast, beginning with this Ford Championship in Arizona. They got one in California. I think they go to Hawaii for a week as well. But you have an outstanding leaderboard because it's been about a month, and not everybody went over to Asia to compete in the 3 or 4 events over there in Thailand and Singapore and China before coming in. So, but you have, as we mentioned, 9 of the top 10 players in the world, and several of them up at the top of the leaderboard. Lilia Vu there with tying the 36-hole record in the event, 14 under par, shot a 8 under 64 in round 2. And really didn't necessarily felt like she was going to go low when she started her round.
Yeah, I think I wasn't thinking too much about the golf. I know I was a little stressed on the range, and my caddy could kind of tell, and so he told me, we're just going to stick to our start lines today, and then I'll handle everything. So I trusted him in that sense, and I think that really helped me going into the round, and just focused on the shot in front of me and getting from point A to point B, and that really kind of helps me. And so, yeah, somehow it just happened to play well. Felt like everything was grooving in the right spot. Mm-hmm.
So there, and it's amazing, especially out there, how much the players rely on their caddies to get them in the right mood, whether it's being yin and yang, whether it's being on the same page, all of those sorts of things. She talked about how much she relies on her caddy.
Yeah, I think necessarily I didn't get myself in order. I think my caddy, Cole, actually helped me with that. I was definitely a little panicked with just the way I was hitting the ball. I'm not hitting the greatest, but just making do with what I have.
And that's the ability. And caddies knowing their player's game and helping them just shot to shot, and players really recognizing that. And when you've got that trust factor, it can result in an 8 under 64 when you don't think you're swinging it that great. As for world number 1, Nelly Korda, who has only played a couple of times this year, hasn't not won yet. She was asked where she feels her game is at.
Golf's just a really funny game. I mean, you can never kind of be comfortable. You just have to constantly practice, try to improve in every aspect of it. I mean, one day your chipping's great, the next day it's the weakest part of your game, and vice versa with putting and whatnot. So you're always trying to dial it in, and that's the funny thing about this game, and also like the greatest thing about this game is like no one's ever going to be an expert, no one's ever going to have it actually figured out. You think you have it figured out, and then you go out and play another golf course and you're like, I really don't have it figured out. But I think it just humbles you in a way, but it also continuously motivates you.
And that's the best female player in the world, and I think we all feel like that. Every once in a while, you feel like you got it figured out, and then you hit it one sideways, and you don't have anything figured out. But that's the same. The same thoughts go through the head of the top-ranked female player in the world, in Nelly Korda, who will start things 1:30, teeing off in the second-to-last group with Nana Kurtz Madsen of Denmark. Gino Tidekun and Lilia Vu are in the final group. Lilia Vu will start the day with a 2-shot lead. They go off at 1:40 this afternoon, and Gino Tidekun is quickly, I think, the number 2 ranked player in the world, leading the CME Globe rankings on tour this year. Had a streak of 10 straight top 10s that came to an end in the last that Blue Bay event in China, finishing just in the top 20, 17th, I believe. Nobody playing as well as her, and strokes gained right now since the 2024 Mizuno Americas Open, leading the tour in scoring average at just over 69. Number one in strokes gained total at 2.62, and number one in strokes gained putting at nearly a stroke and a half. All number one on tour since midway through the 2024 season. So it should be a lot of fun again. 3 o'clock this afternoon, and you will start to see a lot of the names you expect to see in a few weeks in Houston at the first major on the LPGA Tour, the Chevron Championship. So that's what's going on the tours. We'll come back to that maybe a little bit later in the show. But when we come back in the business of golf, very excited to talk to the associate professional out at Arrowhead Golf Club, Steve Vancil. Who is just back, went again to the World Speed Golf Championships in November in 2024 out in Japan, able to go with his daughter. They both competed. He's had an amazing career as an instructor in golf, as a coach, as well as a competitor. We'll talk about his journey and what he's learned and what he applies out at Arrowhead with instructors, whether he's instructing the members out there or working with young golfers as he's done over the years coaching high school. Fascinated. We make the turn here. It's Golf in the Northwest on 1080 The Fan.
when I'd hit a shot, and she'd say something like, "Oh my gosh, in the trees again!" And everybody's like, "Oh my God, that's pretty funny." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's in the trees again." Try not. One of the tee shots, she told me, "Hey, remember yesterday? Try not to hit that guy on the left like you did yesterday." So it was always a minute. I don't think we are always laughing, but that's kind of how it went.
Well, we're chatting here with Steve Vanso, the associate professional out there at Arrowhead Golf Club out in Malala. How did you first get introduced to speed golf? It's been something that's kind of been out there. We've talked to Christopher Smith over the years, who's one of the top speed golfers in the country. He used to work out of Pumpkin Ridge, but how did you get introduced to it, and when did you kind of discover that you could really excel in that form of golf?
The funny part was when I went back to teaching school and I got a job out here at Arrowhead. I've been here for 27 years, just running their junior golf program and working in the shop and just, being around a lot. So I could afford to play golf. That was probably part of it. But we had young kids, and I would have maybe an opening shift or maybe a start at 7 a.m. shift. And Rob Gibbons would say, "Hey, if you want to play golf, you better get here early." So I would get there and I'd just run around the course and play. And about 3 years into it, I had a member that passed away a little bit ago, but we have a tree called the Craven tree. He came up to me and he's like, "Yeah, there's tournaments for these things." And I'm like, "There is not either." And he says, "Oh yeah." And it kind of just blossomed from there. And I don't know, that had to be 20 years ago. And I started looking into it. And what happened is I started taking my dad. My dad and I, we would just use the adventures. Hey, this one's in Houston. So we'd fly to Houston and go play I would play in the speed golf events. He would ride in the cart and we'd just hang out and we'd use it as a bonding time. And we did that until he passed up in 2020. And then I kind of decided I didn't want to do it anymore. But then both my kids, I have Mason and Paige, they both encouraged me to say, "Hey, if you start doing this again, you can, we'll travel with you." And then Paige, who was really kind of followed the same golf journey I did, in that she was an excellent soccer player, a good basketball player, but played golf a little bit, but ended up playing in college. She said she'd go with me to Japan and I said, if you just wanted to go with me to Japan, I said, "Well, then you better start playing speed golf." And so she did. So that was kind of the rule. If I was going to help her get her way to Japan, she had to play. So
well, and then you guys were just there in November. You took the bronze medal. Paige played with another team, took the silver in the team event. When you are now training for this to compete at this level, how much separate training do you do running? How much is golf? And then what is the key element when you put the two together to be able to, because I imagine when you get over a shot, a lot of it's got to be with slowing your heart rate and your breathing down to be able to have a tempo to make a shot while you're, in the middle of running.
Yeah, it's in the rules of speed golf, the scoring is essentially a minute is worth a stroke. And back when I first started, I would have some rounds in competition where I'd shoot 67 and 43 minutes. So you would just add that together and get a 110. And that would be your score. And then the seconds would be tiebreakers. So really, as I've gotten older, I'm not able to run it nearly as fast, but I can play golf. So golf becomes more paramount for me. And so I hit the ball straighter, hit a little bit, I score better. So that's what I anchor my my strategy. I still, this morning I got here at 6:30 and at 6:45 I teed off and played a speed golf round, and I was shot, in my mind, a disappointing 73 in 49 minutes, but I didn't make any birdies, which drove me nuts. But so I try to, as it gets more into the summer, I try to play it 2 or 3 times. And when I do running, I'm doing more interval training, because you're really trying to, get to the spot, calm your breathing, and then hit again. And so you kind of find a sweet spot where you are, like if I ran a 10K, my last 10K I ran my average was a little over 7-minute miles. And now when I'm running this, I think I'm probably running 8.5 minute miles.
Uh-huh.
And it's just because I'm just trying to, it pays to be able to breathe and hit. So,
Yeah. Oh, I'm fascinated with it because I ran some cross country in high school, and I'm not even close to being in that sort of shape. But for people that are looking to try to get into this, how long are the courses in terms of yardage that they set? Because I imagine they're not playing from the tips that we see at the top amateur and professional levels. But how long is a course setup usually for you?
When I play and I try to mostly play in the men's open division because when the senior ones play a little shorter, but the men's open division usually plays 6,500 yards, somewhere around there, maybe 64. And then you're also playing usually, like right now, I played Arrowhead and it was 6,300 yards, but everything's muddy, so it makes it a really long course. But when we do these in the fall, then it's much different and your ball rolls out. So that distance, the shorter ones like the senior division might be somewhere around 6,000 or 5,900. But I usually stay away from playing in the senior ones. The only reason I really played the senior one back in Japan is I was fighting a knee injury, and thank goodness. I mean, when we traveled there, my daughter and I traveled there. We stayed in a genuine, authentic Japanese host hotel resort, which meant that turns out we were sleeping on a 2-inch mat. Oof. And we really, I ran 10 minutes slower just because my back was killing me. It was just a rough time. Paige was much better about getting through it. She's younger, so that was not a big deal to her, but she's laughing at me as I'm can't move, and then she's watching me try to walk through the doors that are 5'8" door frames because it was this authentic Japanese resort, and I kept hitting my head. She's like, "Hey, Dad, if I had a video, that'd be pretty funny." I'm like, "Yeah, that's funny, Paige." So I guess that's a obtuse answer to your question, but there it is.
No, there you go. I'm also curious. Do you wear golf shoes or running shoes when you do this?
I wear running shoes. I actually wear running shoes when I play almost everywhere.
Yeah.
And even in the winter, if I'm playing regular golf, I probably have some nice hiking boots that I play. To me, it's more comfortable to wear those, and then I'm just always wearing running shoes. Dominic laughs when he sees me. Like if I see one of my members will hit a poor shot, I'll just take off running to go find their ball. I don't really like slow playing. He's like, "Oh, there goes Steve," and they kind of laugh at me because that's what happens.
Oh.
So
we're chatting here with Steve Vancil, the associate pro out at Arrowhead Golf Club, and talking about his foray into speed golf, just back from the World Championships. You also coached high school golf as part of your career, and Dominic was telling me you as a teacher, as somebody that had to play and be self-taught and be self-motivated, it was a great blend to figure out how to motivate your high school kids, how to keep practicing when it's out of season. And I think that's something that applies to everybody. Basketball season, calling pilots games, I stick the clubs away for 6 months, and I really shouldn't if I want to have any semblance of a game when the weather turns around. What were some of the things that you found helped most with your younger players to keep them motivated to develop those great practice habits that you always find in good players?
Well, I wrote to get a grant for something, but when I was coaching the high school teams, different high school teams, I would always recruit athletes. And even when I was coaching some Oregon City boys teams, when I was first teaching math for 30 plus years, I would get these kids that may have been just cut from a team, and I'd say, "Hey, come on out for golf." And then you get these people that are, and I find that if you teach them the basics on how to create good contact and getting good club position, then they expand and they become good very quickly. And so I had like that. One of the boys teams I took was just a whole bunch of high school kids that got cut their freshman year. And by the time we were seniors, we took fifth in state, mostly because they were just good athletes that played. And those athletes understand what it means to to practice a little bit out of season. They understand that they've been doing it for a long time, so I would try to get them to commit to doing some things in the off season. And when I started coaching the Clackamas girls team, and my daughter was on the team, and Joe Bushman had resigned and said, I need you to take over. And so I just implemented an off-season program where they were just showing up and practicing. And I'd make my daughter, she'd come straight from soccer practice, Paige would come straight from soccer practice, and then we'd go down, and they'd have to hit chips. And I just say they need to get there. And so I saw that and it was unfortunate when my daughter was a senior, I had 4 kids that were going to play in college, and they probably would have won the state tournament, but because of COVID, they didn't even get to play the state tournament. But they were all developed because they just were they were all these athletes that just kind of were coming into. I had one girl that was a total golfer, and she is still playing at Boise State. And all the rest were playing other sports, but I would convince them to come down in the off season and just 10 times, once a week, twice a week, come do that. And so I wrote this grant for the Oregon PGA in which I picked some of my high school players that I work with around the area, and I just said, I've got this amount of dollars. They granted me $500. I said, I have $500 to spend on you guys, and here's what I'm going to do. Because they were all players that were playing other sports. I said, I have 12 sessions that you have to put in with me, and you have to get to 6 of them. And then you also have to commit to 12 sessions to put in on your own, where I would just send them some drills that they can do in the mirror or putt on their carpet or different things, and you have to get to 6 of those. If you can get to half of everything, then you get a piece of this $500 pie, which was just essentially credit in the pro shop that they came and one girl made 12 of 12 on everything, did everything. So she got the big, I just divided up, kind of giving them points, and she got the biggest amount. So she got this really nice 3/4 zip that had arrowhead on it. She was super excited. Another one's just got a dozen golf balls. But it just depends on how much they showed up. And it was just trying to get them to practice. And actually, just talking to her, she had the best start in her golf season that she's ever had. And she is just kind of blossoming in how she's playing.
That's fantastic. Really fantastic. We're out of time. I could talk to you for the rest of the show. But for people that, where do you go? How do you start training? Where are good places if you don't belong to a private club where you could go and practice speed golf? And if people want to get in touch with you about instruction or anything else, what's the best way to do that?
Well, if you want to practice speed golf, the first thing I do, and it was funny, I went to Hawaii, and I went to this big field. My wife and I had our 30th anniversary, and we were there. And I went to this big field, and I was just hitting wedges and running back and forth. I'd hit 2 balls, run, 2 balls, run back. And that's a great way to see if you can kind of manage that and see if you can still make good contact. So if you can find, in Happy Valley, there's a couple of places, if you go early in the morning where there's like no one around, you can hit, wedges or even a 7-iron up and down a hill, and just to see if you like it. And then after that, you need to contact courses. A lot of courses will let you do it if you're the first group out, or maybe late in the evening on a rainy day, and you may have to pay greens fees, but they would let you go and try a speed golf round. Now, as far as Arrowhead goes, we're a private course, private club. But we do, if they wanted to come see me for lessons, and if you wanted to do speed golf lessons and training for that, I can do that as well. You just have to, the easiest way to reach out to Arrowhead is just dial their number, 503-829-8080, and then leave a message for Steve. And if you can't remember, just for the speed golfer, and I'll get back to you, and we can see if we can work something out to train people. There will be, I know the U.S. Championships are in California this year, and we're trying to host an event out at Arrowhead probably this fall. But that would be something that you would go to Speed Golf USA, and they would have a list of the events, and then you'd be able to come into that event that way.
There you go. Well, it's a fascinating story. Congratulations on the results so far, and best of luck. You've won 3 out of the 5 tournaments so far here in the section this season, so continued good playing.
That's just an award for perseverance, getting the Senior Player of the Year.
Oh.
Yeah, I hit a lot of different places, but I can find it. So that's how it goes.
There you go. Well, I thank you so much for the conversation, and we look forward to catching up with you and checking on your progress as the season goes.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
There you go. Steve Vansel out there, the associate pro at Arrowhead Golf Club. Okay, we'll take a break, come back, wrap up the show. Fascinating conversation. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did here as we make the turn. It's Golf in the Northwest on 1080 The Fan.
Time is ticking away. Don't let another minute pass. Plan your retirement now with Trajan Wealth for the future you deserve. Call Trajan today at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing
What's up, everybody? This is Will Darkins here, talking to you on the radio on 1080 The Fan. This is Sinner and the Saint. It is a Will Squared edition, which means it's me, Will Darkins, and one Will Ortner across the glass. Will, how are you?
I'm doing all right, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm a little sleepy. I got kicked in the teeth yesterday in the tournament action.
Like literally?
No, but like I'd been on a little hot streak and I was winning, and I don't know if you know, like have this. I don't know how much you gamble on sports or if you
I
do at all.
don't. I find gambling reprehensible.
See,
and the
and
fact you do it
you should.
makes me so angry.
You should yell at me. It should be an issue. You should like throw like a Bible at me or something and be like, "How dare you?"
A Bible.
Yeah, I don't know.
Slap you with a Bible.
Well, it's like it's my one vice. Like I think you got to have one vice. Like you got to have one thing where people kind of look at you and they're like, "Why does he do that? Like he shouldn't do that." Like if you have no vices, then I just assume you're hiding your vices. Everyone has vices, and I like gambling, and it is what it is. But when you go on a hot streak as a sports gambler, you kind of get to this like dumb thought where you're like, I'll just make money. I'll never lose again. Like all I will do is have a continual like money increase coming back my way. And I had done pretty well at the first part. So I was like, awesome. Thursday, excuse me, not yesterday. Thursday, it's like, wow, I hit a parlay. I won most of my bets. Like, this is really good. I keep making money. I am rich. I will just gamble every day. And then I got kicked in the teeth. I now hate Ole Miss for that stupid three-pointer that they made for no reason. It was a 6-point game, and they covered because I hate them. And everything else just didn't go my way.
Now, do you imagine your, as you call it, vice?
Yep.
Do you imagine your vice kind of turning into you like DMing athletes?
No.
And being like,
no.
You POS, you ruined my parlay. I'm going to find you. Like that.
No, see, here's the
Because a lot of dudes deal with that.
There are a lot of guys who do that, and those guys are scumbags. I do it the old-fashioned way, where I curse you out in the safety of my own house so you don't know that I was yelling and cursing you out. I will not take it to that advanced stage. See, again, here's some weirdness of my social media. I typically do not follow first.
What does that mean?
So, like, you and I, let's say you've got Instagram, I've got Instagram. Your Instagram might pop up on my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be like, ooh, I work with Will. Yeah. I should give him a follow.
Let's do it.
And then I'll like, right as I'm about to hit the follow button, he'll be like, what if he thinks you're annoying and this is weird? It's like,
I see.
I'm not going to follow first. I'm going to make him follow me first. If he's popping up on mine, I will clearly pop up on his, or I will already have popped up on his, and he will follow me first, and that's how I know that we're best friends, and I'll just follow back.
Okay, so now you're bringing up a good little social paradigm here, because this is a thing. Now, I have detoxed myself from all social media. I'm not on any.
Good
anymore.
for you, dude.
And it's not even that I had a problem with it. It's just that I realized I'm not on it at all. I don't even, I quit going on Twitter, and so I go on Reddit. I don't post. I go on there.
And Reddit's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's the last, it's the last just news feed. But you bring up this point about coworkers, and I think my rule is with coworkers and social media is I don't think there is any waiting period. I think whoever goes first or whatever, I don't think anybody can think weird of anybody else, because I think the logic is just there. It's like, I work with this person. This makes sense. I'm going to ask them for a friend request.
And that's fair.
Yeah. And the last GM here, she was like on it. Like, I remember her first day, like around, well, maybe it wasn't the first day, but it was around the first week. She immediately on all my platforms was like, follow.
She's well aware of what you're posting.
Yeah. And I was kind of like, wow, that's weird. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, whatever. She's the GM.
Right. Makes sense.
Keeps tabs.
Like, what if you said something that you shouldn't be, you know, whatever. Or like, maybe it's just a genuine, like, hey, like I work with this person.
Yeah.
I'd like them to be happy in life.
Let's see what's going on there.
Right.
Now, you are, how old?
I'm 27.
Okay.
And a half.
Is it true that the kids
Yeah.
are socialing on LinkedIn now. That like that's a place to like converse and hang out. Not just like, hey, check it out, I got a raise, or hey, check it out, I'm doing volunteer work. By the way, I can help you market to B2B. Hit me up in the DMs.
That's a bad question for me because I despise LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm on LinkedIn. The only reason I'm ever on LinkedIn is to go in and update my resume. And that's it. Like I was told like, hey, you need to be on it. Like you're not going to see me go on LinkedIn and be like, wow, congratulations from going from grunt work to middle manager. Like good for you.
Great work, Jessica.
Yeah, like that's
Nice job on that raise.
That's not going to be me. Like cool, man. Like congrats on your promotion or your new job. Like that's great. That's not me. But that's also not me on like Instagram or on like X. Like if I'm on X, I might fire off like a sports take or something. But otherwise it's like, ooh, my team won, like. Oh, my team lost, dislike.
Oh, okay.
Funny video with no cussing, retweet. Like,
Okay.
that's really about all that I'm doing. Instagram, I'm just kind of scrolling. I don't even like most pictures anymore.
Not even.
Be like, look at me and my family, and I'll be like, cool.
You sound excited. I don't even
Whatever.
like pictures anymore.
No, it's like whatever. Well, because
I think you're getting to that point where you're ready to quit it.
Yeah, I mean,
You are.
I think
I think
if
a lot
I
of
could, I
people my
would.
age and my because you're still what? You're Gen Z, I guess.
I am the leader of Gen Z.
Okay.
I'm the first year of Gen Z. Leading
So,
charge.
I think you guys are still kind of in on it, but a lot of the people I know that are my age in their mid or late 30s, I think most everybody's kind of quitting social media because they've realized how just pointless it is unless like that's what you do or
Right.
you're an entrepreneur. But like after that, if you're just a regular person working a job, like there's no point.
Yeah.
Especially when you have kids and you're a man. Now, if you have kids and you're a woman, and my wife, I got to give her credit. She doesn't do this as much, though she takes copious amounts of photos of my son doing pretty much nothing. She doesn't post them, really. She just
There you
keeps
go.
them, and she's like, I'm keeping them on the phone. I'm keeping them on the cloud. We
Mm-hmm.
will, or one day, get around to like making albums and do that. But
Yeah.
I'm taking these photos. I will sometimes, like on a holiday, post something of him, but that's it.
Mhm.
Most women I know that have kids though that are online, it's like friggin' smack it. We have a
All the
friend
time.
who created, get this, Instagram pages for her babies.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense.
That makes sense to you?
Yep, I have friends that have Instagram pages for their dog. I have a college friend whose dog has more followers on Instagram than I do.
Yeah.
Kai the Husky guy. Good for Kai. He's doing husky things. He's a husky. And he Instagram posts. He Instagram reels.
And he Fs.
Well,
He's great.
I don't know that he's a father. I could reach out and ask. Be like, hey, does your dog have kids?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
Can we get him on the show?
Kai the Husky guy? I don't know that
yeah.
he'd be a good interview.
No?
I don't know that she would be a good I don't know what, like, that's one where it's like we were friends in college. I haven't seen her since.
Well, and I think you're kind of the same speed as me in that, like, I hear that, and I'm kind of like, where do you find the time to do that? Like, maintain an Instagram page for a dog. I'm assuming they're not married or have kids, which whatever. But like,
Yeah,
even
she
in
doesn't.
that scenario, like, how are you finding time to do that? Like, does it mean that much to you every day that like you have a schedule, or perhaps that you see certain things, or your dog doing certain things that you say, okay, I need to post this on this dog's Instagram page, and then when people comment,
Right.
I'm going to actively read them, think about it, and then reply.
Well, I think like originally when it started, you also have to be like fair to this person because this started in college. So
Okay.
you've got at that point, this person would have had, a couple classes a day.
Mm-hmm.
and then like they played a sport, so they had their whatever they were doing for that sport. But then like you have all this free time, and as dumb as it sounds, like in college, like Instagram's a big deal. You know, X was a big deal. Hey man, that was a great tweet. You had a funny tweet. Hey, here's your dog. And like she was excited that she had a dog. It's a cool dog. Love Kai, great guy. Great husky guy. And so I think you get to like this point where you have a bunch of free time. You're young and dumb. And it's like, hey, I love my dog. Look at my dog. Here's my dog eating his food.
Check out this dog.
Here's my dog digging a hole in the backyard.
That's a dog.
Here's my dog being like silly. And so I think it was just more of like a free time with the dog. I think once you like 27, I don't have a ton of free time.
Yeah.
You know, that person probably doesn't have a ton. Like I'll look up Kai the Husky guy right now.
Let's see him.
Let's see.
I want to see that dog.
Let's see. Maybe he's not Instagramming as much anymore.
Maybe he's TikToking and doing dances.
He was TikToking too at one point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, see now this is really getting into the what is this person doing with their time?
The Husky guy. He lives in, I'm not going to say where he lives. He's 3 years old. Okay.
You're not gonna say where Kai the Husky guy lives.
No, I don't.
So you're like, you took enough time. You were like, you know what? I don't want to invade Kai's privacy because if I mention him on this Saturday sports radio show that is just beaming with popularity, somebody's gonna hear it and they're gonna go, you know what? This conversation these two guys have been having for the past 10 minutes about this Husky on Instagram.
About Kai the Husky guy.
I'm into it.
Well, his last
and I want to see that dog.
His last reel was in January. So he's posting less. He's got a trip out here where like he's at the beach. Then he's got another one where he's on the mountain. Now he's in a farm. He's giving blue steel in one of these posts.
Oh.
You can see him. He's very excited for Cinco de Mayo.
No, that's good.
Although to be fair, this was posted on April 11th.
Oh. Okay.
So he's not good at calendars. But yeah, no, he's still posting. He goes on walks. He's a big fan of UW.
There you go, folks. We've done it.
We've
reached the apex of this show's I guess culture, which is we will spend a segment talking about a dog's Instagram.
I might have to DM this person and just be like, hey, just so you know, we talked about your dog.
Your
today.
dog was our first segment. If you haven't listened to this show before, that was what I would call a classic Sinner and Saint segment, which is we took a topic that maybe you didn't know much about, Kai the Husky guy, and we enlightened you about it. So you're welcome. And I'm sorry.
We're getting I'm sorry too.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry too.
I'm sorry to all those dads who forgot about the stuff they were supposed to get at the grocery on Friday and are now out going to get it and turned on the radio and were like, I guess I could listen to this.
They're like driving and they're like, I already thought that Will Ortner was an idiot. And now I'm watching and listening to him break down the Instagram of a dog.
They're driving and they're listening. They're like, this is it. This is the last straw with this show.
Like,
I'm not friggin' listening to this anymore.
I hope they fire this guy. They're over there like never even thought about having an Instagram. And they're like, I have to listen to this moron talk about Husky's Instagram page.
I tune into this show every week for intelligent sports takes, and this is what I get.
Well, look, that was a take on societal norms.
God darn it.
And how we need to stop making Instagrams for our dogs.
Dog Instagram. All right, look. It's tournament time. Have you been betting on the tournament? I know you have, Will. I haven't, Will. Because I don't gamble. But it's been interesting. Especially since we now have no team in the Elite Eight, I believe, below 3. Is that right?
Yeah, Texas Tech is your Cinderella at 3.
Yes.
9th ranked in Ken Palm.
How do we feel about that, and what is that saying about the tournament and college sports as a whole? It is a Will Squared edition of Sinner and the Saint right here on Portland Sports Leader 1080 The Fan.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they promising you up to 10% growth per
men's basketball tournament has been roaring and ripping, I've been told. I haven't followed it all that much just because of the fact that we had opening day, which we'll get to next. But I did notice, kind of peeping in on a few games earlier in the tournament, that, and I think everybody's noticed this, the trend that we don't really have any Cinderellas, right? Will, you mentioned it before the break. Texas Tech is number 3. They are considered our quote-unquote Cinderella. And I think that we can all kind of espouse why this is happening, and we can then also question, is this a good thing? Now, the why is the fact that all these dudes from mid-major schools are trying to get in on the money. And so they'll enter the transfer portal, which I believe in football hit a record of 700 and something this past offseason.
Basketball just opened on Monday, and at one point they were up to, I believe, 1,000.
1,000. Okay.
Athletes.
So we have 1,000 athletes moving and shaking because of the fact that this is a for-profit enterprise now. It always has been for the colleges, which call that good or bad. I don't know. I have always interpreted sports in terms of watching it, so anything above high school level, to be about entertainment. And so as a consumer of it, I don't want you to mess with it and screw up my watching, because I'm the one that's funneling money to cable providers who then, throw advertising in front of my face. So when I hear this, that basically all these mid-major players who are really good, what you used to have of Ja Morant's, your Steph Curry's, your CJ McCollum's, who were at these mid-major schools that made a splash in the tournament, it made me think that sports is now becoming so vanilla and predictable, and especially this tournament, that I don't know if I really see much of a point in watching it. In fact, I don't know if I see much of a point in watching Cooper Flagg if I know he's just going to go to the NBA next year. Why do I want to watch him when he's crappy and developing?
See, I'd make the argument here. I don't know that you've seen a college basketball freshman play the way that Cooper Flagg is playing. Like, if you just look at his Arizona game, he led his team in points. He had 3 blocks I want to say he had 2 steals. He had around 8 rebounds and another 6 assists. He does everything. He's awesome. Basically, the comparison for him is Jason Tatum. Like, he is Jason Tatum 2.0 with a little bit more of a developed shot. And I understand where people are coming from when it comes to like, hey, there's no Cinderellas this year. But I do think that the argument that some are saying is, well, the Cinderellas are the players. You have these guys who, before the transfer portal, because NIL doesn't really matter here, it's more of the transfer portal. Before the transfer portal era, they were stuck at one school. These are late developing players or guys who had injuries in high school, so they were less highly recruited. Maybe they're shorter. Maybe they're a little bit undersized weight-wise for their position. And they would go to these mid-major schools, and there'd be like 2 or 3 of them on a team, and if they got lucky, they'd have a good coach, and then they could go on this historic run. But my issue with the Cinderellas were, hey, man, that Cinderella St. Peter's team beating, the 2 seed as a 15 was really cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't really cool in the Elite 8 or in, the semifinals where they got absolutely blown out when you want the best games because they're all standalone games. It's really cool that Florida Gulf Coast came in and absolutely blitzed Kentucky. It wasn't that cool later on in the tournament when I'm really excited for good games. So now you have these Cinderella kids where they go, hey, I'm going to have to stay for, 3 or 4 years in college. I'm going to then transfer. I'm going to join up with my other mid-major buddies. I'm going to go to Auburn, or I'm going to go to Houston, or I'm going to go to XYZ school. We're going to combine forces together, and then we're going to have a historically great college basketball team. When you look at the KenPom rankings, he ranks teams based off all these different analytics, but essentially, if a college basketball team gets to this like plus 35 net rating, you can almost guarantee they're going to be a champion. This year, there's 4 teams that have that and a 5th team in Tennessee that's right on the cusp. So essentially, this is the best, like, top peak of power from these basketball teams that you've ever had. And it should lead to better basketball games. Now, it is unfortunate that you don't have that Cinderella story, but I think you need to look at the players. Look at a kid like JT Toppin. JT Toppin is the best player for Texas Tech. He's Obi Toppin's brother. He's down low. He's a post player. Yeah. He's an old school basketball player. He's going to get boards. He's not great at shooting the ball from deep, but he's going to force his way down low. He's great around the basket, has a great hook shot. He can go left or right. JT Toppin is a guy that got recruited to New Mexico. He did well there, and now he was the player of the year in the Big 12. He's now probably going to get drafted. Like, that's a cool thing to talk about. Janiah Broome started at Morehead State, and now he's going to be the second best basketball player in college basketball this season.
Yeah, and so I think you're making good points here in terms of trying to follow these guys, but I got to tell you, I've never heard of these guys ever. Like, ever.
Fair. They do a bad job of marketing their stars.
Well, and it's because they're handcuffed. How the hell do you market somebody who spends 1 year somewhere and then leaves and then goes to the NBA?
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
There's no point. I mean, that's what they're doing this for, right? Is to get to the NBA. And that's it. And so I like to compare it to, say, like somebody trying to tell me, like, oh, well, you want to watch these guys because, they're going to be great in the NBA, right? So why is it the fact then I'm not getting convinced more to watch AAA ball? That's what AAA ball is, right?
Yeah.
It is a breeding ground for getting to the show. Why aren't I convinced to watch more D-League games or G-League, whatever the hell it is?
I think it's G-League now.
Why aren't I convinced to watch more G-League games, like to see dudes like Scoot Henderson develop and get better and get drafted? Well, because the purpose of the league itself, like college basketball is now and like the G League is, and really very pointedly what AAA ball is development. It's not entertainment. And so when, as a sports viewing fan, I get fed this, that like, oh, you want to watch this stuff so, you can you can appreciate them at this point in their career, which that quite honestly, they suck at this point in their career. Can we all admit Cooper Flagg's very, very good? He's just 20, right? Or is he 19?
He's 18.
Oh, he's 18?
He's supposed to be a high school senior this year. He reclassified. Right. He's the second youngest player in college basketball right now.
Yeah.
I think
18 years old, I'll pass. I'll watch him when he goes to the league. By the way, get ready to watch him get ruined by whoever gets drafted to.
Well, this is where
the Wizards.
This is where the conspiracy theory comes out, and all of a sudden, a really good franchise, and he's going to fall to them.
Oh, like the frozen envelope.
Yeah, that the basketball people have already started that because he's already doing the whole. Well, if it's the Wizards, I'm just going to come back. Which he's not.
I don't blame him.
But he's not. He's not going to do that.
Why?
Because his NIL is going to be the same whether he's in the NBA or in college basketball. And
oh my God,
he'll go to the NBA and make more money.
No, you can't do that. You can't go to the Wizards, dude. They are
2 years there or whatever the rookie. They're horrible.
Fire.
They're horrible. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
Look at everybody that's gone through. I mean, they're not even a basketball team. I mean, look at the Bulls, right? The Bulls made a trade.
The Generals are better.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I'll never do the whole like a college team could beat them, but they are, I guess, a slight step over the side. Well, no, they're not. They're not anymore. They don't care anymore. And it's not even that they're the Wizards are actively tanking, because I'm sure they are, but like everybody's given up on them, including themselves. Like it's a whole, and not only that, but you're gonna encounter a team that is owned by Ted Leonsis, who has at times attempted to move you just to get you out of the city center for whatever reason. And if you want to talk about development too as a player, and I'm not saying it wouldn't have gone this way in the beginning, but I'm pretty sure things would have worked out a little better if Zion Williamson would have been somewhere else. Now, he has his own problems, right? He's obviously has some type of eating addiction and sex addiction that he can't control. Because he's publicly talked about it.
He's a kid who grew up in rural North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in a rural area where he was the biggest star.
Yeah.
And then he went to Duke and he became a cultural phenomenon because of how electric he was. And then he went to New Orleans, like
one of the worst run franchises in the NBA.
But also the biggest food city of all time, where guess what? None of it's vegan. It's all super fattening. And now he's getting calls from all the hots, and they're like, "Hey, Zion, what's up?
Come on over."
Not to steal Ron White's bit, but Ron White has a great bit where he's like, Tiger should be commended for only cheating as many times as he did. Like, there's a little bit of, Zion should be commended for only being kind of a dirtbag, because we all have friends that are dirtbags, and every chance they get to be a dirtbag, they're a dirtbag.
Yeah.
How many times has Zion said no to being a dirtbag? It's probably a lot more than your dirtbag buddy.
I mean, yeah. And I mean, you are right. Like, who knows? I mean, it probably would have. His fate probably would have been something similar if he got drafted anywhere else. I mean, I think that he is, like all of us, inherently flawed in some way, and it
100%.
seems as though he is more flawed in certain areas. But I just think that if you are Cooper Flagg and you're somebody who's showing this much promise already at age 18, you cannot go to that franchise. I mean, they are a joke, an absolute joke. I mean, you would be friggin' lucky if you dodged that bullet and went to the Jazz. That would be your best case scenario. Now, I know everybody's saying like, oh, well, no, you're going to put him in that media market. He won't flourish. Dude, it doesn't matter. He's 18. Just let him develop and get good as an NBA player, because there's very obvious flaws in his game that you can just watch and say, oh, yeah, he's not doing that at the NBA level. He's getting smoked at the NBA level. So he needs to go to a team and an organization that is going to, one, be able to manage his minutes and not get him hurt, because that dude seems like he's gone 10 minutes every single game because he either gets poked in the eye or kicked in the nuts. And two, round him out better as a complete player, because there's very obvious flaws about this guy. And I think we're all getting caught up in the incredible nature that he is 18 and he's doing this.
He's awesome.
He's awesome. But he's very flawed as a player. And it's very obvious. And it's very obvious that if you put him in an NBA game today, he's average. I'm sorry, he is. He's just average. Which is why I would contest, dude, stay one more year at Duke. Just stay one more year. The money is going to friggin' flow at some point, and you're still going to be making money at Duke because the NIL deal is going to be insane. You can play both sides as the season ends, right? You can do that. You can say, well, I don't know if I want to do that, so you can get your NIL money up. You got to develop one more year and avoid the Washington Wizards.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Wizards are going to be there again.
Yeah.
Are you sure you avoid them? And and here's why I'd argue back to why you should watch the tournament. Because it is fun to watch Cooper Flag. It is fun to watch Knuppel. There are players in there. Don't get me wrong. The Purdue-Houston game last night, there were times where my eyes bled. Yeah. There were times where my eyes bled.
A defensive battle.
But I'll tell you right now, that ending was awesome. The ending of that game was awesome. There are times where when you watch Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans play basketball, you're like, I hate this team. And then Jace Richardson goes off and has 3 3-pointers in a row. You want to watch cool basketball? Today, Alabama versus Duke. Duke plays a little bit slower. They are a little bit better on offense just from a shooting efficiency-wise, and they play good defense. Alabama doesn't play any defense, and they don't want to. And they are going to run up and down the court, and they are going to chuck up the ball. Back in the day, wasn't it Santa Clara or Loyola Marymount where they're like, we want to shoot every 11 seconds. I think this Alabama team wants to shoot every 5. They are going to go down and chuck up threes. They beat BYU, now, albeit a BYU team that doesn't play good defense. You could have taken away every 2-pointer that Alabama hit, and they would have still won. They hit that many threes. They're fun games. You just got to know where to find them, and then just understand that Tennessee-Houston on Sunday is going to make your eyes want to bleed, but it's going to be close at the very end, and that'll be fun. So,
all right, I'll accept it.
That's my pitch. That's my elevator pitch.
That's good. I know.
That's what I got for you.
I mean, you are right.
It's fun.
A lot of context. I think to me, yeah, I don't know. You know, we've belabored over it, but just I feel like it's turned into a practice instead of a entertainment piece, and I don't want to compromise on that crap. I just don't. I don't want to be told that
the entertainment is the chaos. It's not the skill.
Well, and it's also them getting better and watching it. And they don't. They never get better. They never do. They're the same frigging player all year, every time. Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker, Zion Williamson, Karl Anthony Towns. It's the same player for the entire season as a freshman because they're 18. They're 19. They're young. And that's fine. But I would like to see them come back for another year, and you get to see that development. In fact, I want to talk about this next too, because this is what I love so much about college football. And we'll kind of dig into that. It's just seeing the development of players. So we'll talk about that next here on a Will Squared edition of Sinner and Saint. But first, let's do some news. Are you a Ravens fan?
They're fine. I'm not.
Yeah, I feel the same.
I like the other bird, but I wouldn't hate it if they got a title or something just for Lamar.
Yeah.
I don't think they will, but
I don't either, which makes this move even more interesting. John Harbaugh, 3-year extension.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of Tomlin in him right now where he's a good coach. You're probably not going to guarantee that you're going to do better. Like, who's out there on the market that you're like, I've just signed X, and they're the new head coach. And everyone goes, yeah, they're better than John Harbaugh. So it's kind of a move where, you have to do it, but you kind of feel like maybe you've hit your peak with this team.
Yeah, but you know what? That same sentiment was done about, who's the guy at Cincy before Zach?
You talking about Marvin Lewis?
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty much Marvin Lewis, right? Because he got to the playoffs for a decade, but never won a playoff game. And everybody was like, well, it's Cincy. That's the best you're going to get. And then they go hire a no-name.
Yeah.
And then they get to the Super Bowl. But I get your point, too. It's
it's a big risk for a front office to make that move. If you're going to fire Harbaugh, or hey, we're going to let your contract run out, you better be darn sure whoever comes in works.
Yeah. I'm with you. Hey, can you do that read? The news one?
Yes, I
don't have it
can.
in front of me, and I haven't memorized it yet.
More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. This is Will Squared from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Hey, it's Dirt here for Crunch Fitness. March right.
The tournament, NCAA men's basketball tournament, and this whole thing of development of players and how for 1 year in college basketball you really don't see much of a development. And so I wanted to talk about college football for a second, because I think that's what's made college football so great and that we don't appreciate enough, is you get to see the development of these guys, because you get to see them for 3 years. And it's either the ups or the downs in it. And one of my favorite instances of this is a guy that I didn't really like all that much, but only in hindsight did I realize, like, oh, that was really cool to see, was Jalen Hurts. I thought it was incredible to watch the fact that Jalen Hurts went from a game manager to just good enough, quote unquote, to get you to a national title, to sit on the bench, dude, we're throwing Tua in, to Heisman Trophy candidate in Oklahoma, where he then gets drafted. And I think seeing that type of maturation of a college football player is what makes the game so incredible. At a pro level, of course, they do get better, but you're more interested in the teams than anything else, I at least in my personal opinion. But another guy too, Reggie Bush. Dude, watching Reggie Bush develop.
Reggie Bush was awesome.
It was insane, because you knew by that junior season two things. One, he's going to the NFL next year. No way in hell he's not. And two, this is the peak of his athleticism. Like, how is he going to look? And it delivered on everything. Same dude, Vince Young, same thing, man. After that Rose Bowl they won against Michigan in 2006, like, you knew his junior season was going to be insane, because he had learned all the lessons from that season and from that bowl game that you were like, dude, he's going to put it together and it's going to look crazy. And it's just, I feel like that's an aspect that's missing from college basketball that we used to have, that made you stick with the game and follow it, because you want to see these guys kind of mature and grow. That's part of sports. That's what makes sports so great. Obviously, there's a lot of aspects that make sports great, but the athletes themselves, watching them get better each time makes you feel invested, because you were along for that journey. teams do it the same way. If you're a part of a team that right now we are here in Portland, you're a part of a team that is building. Think what you will of the Portland Trailblazers right now, but they are attempting to build a foundation. You get a little bit invested in it because you look at the roster, you look at the guys, and you go, they're going to be hanging around for a bit. And they are getting better. And that's really cool to watch. I don't want to watch Cooper Flagg basically play like crap on defense and look lost when he's handling the ball just so that I can watch him dunk and be really athletic. And then the next season, it's like, well, he's going to go suck for the Wizards. Let's watch this.
I think
I don't know.
I think in most cases you're probably right. I think Cooper Flagg's just tough just because I do think he's a generational player. But
you really think so?
I think he's
Okay.
I think he's really stinking good. But I think that this point could have been made last year, right? Like, or you could make this point with an Ace Bailey or with Harper's kid, right? So the two Rutgers players right now, when you look at most NBA mock drafts, it goes Cooper Flagg number 1, and then it goes the two Rutgers kids. Well, here's the issue with Rutgers. How can those two guys be so good or be drafted so high when their team couldn't even make the tournament?
Yeah.
And I get your point with that, where I think that's like the better spot to make it, because just to build on yours, who were two of the best rookie QBs this year? You could make the argument they were the two best rookie QBs because they led their teams to the playoffs. You got Jaden Daniels and you have Bo Nix.
Oh, man.
We saw Bo Nix at Auburn and we saw Jaden Daniels at Arizona State. They were not good. They had flashes. They had moments of brilliance. They had moments. Auburn, Bo Nix in that play against LSU, where I think the entire state of Louisiana is chasing him just for him as he's getting smashed by three guys to flip the ball into the end zone. Auburn catches a touchdown. They win that game. Like that, but that was outshined or overshadowed, I should say, by moments where he'd throw the ball into triple coverage and throw interceptions. When he came to Oregon, like I remember people on this station, I myself said it, where it's like, I don't want Bo Nix at Oregon. Bo Nix isn't very good. I saw what Bo Nix
It seemed
was.
like a weird risk. It seemed, it was kind of just like, I think Bo, I might be wrong about this, but I think Bo Nix in his like getting out of Auburn, like was keying in on Oregon and was like, I want to be here. And Oregon was like, all right, well,
it was the best thing for him. Well, and he was matched with OC that he'd had before. And obviously now we know that Dillingham is brilliant, but at the time he wasn't, right? Like no one knew that. And you got to see Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix develop, and now when they hit the NFL, you're like, yeah, I'm not shocked that Bo Nix was awesome and led Denver to the playoffs his first year. I'm not shocked that Jaden Daniels was awesome in his first year and he led his team to the playoffs. Like you might think that, hey, you would have thought Caleb would have been in the conversation or whatnot, but for this, you watch them develop and you watch them take that time. In college basketball, you get that with certain players, but you don't always get that with the top tier players. Like Janiah Broome. He is going to be the second best player in college basketball this year. He's not a lottery pick.
Yeah.
You know, and so I get your point on that. I think with college basketball, you have to look at it as there's a couple different avenues that you can watch. And there's a chaos factor, which I always think is fun. I think the NBA games can be boring because if I'm going to tune into the NBA, there's no point in me tuning in until the fourth quarter. And that's
fair.
lame and it's cliche that I'm saying it.
No.
But
I
how
think
many
you're right.
times do you watch with 3-point variance where one team can be up by 20 at the end of the first half and they still lose a game by 10?
Yeah.
It happens all the time. That doesn't really happen in college unless there's actual like craziness going on. A guy has some stupid turnover. You get, they can't inbounds the ball. A coach makes a wrong timeout call. I think the craziness is going to get people to tune in. But the other thing, and college basketball needs to do a better job of promoting this, they've started to get the crazy coaches back.
Yeah.
Dan Hurley is fun to watch. I might not know who's playing at UConn, but if Dan Hurley's in a UConn game, I know that UConn team is going to be good. They're going to be coached hard, and I'm going to get to see some crazy antics from him.
Yeah.
I know when Rick Barnes is coaching, you're going to get a tough-nosed defensive team. Right? I know that Tennessee team is going to play good defense and they're going to hustle. They might not be able to shoot, and this Tennessee team can shoot, but they're going to be all over. This Auburn team, they're the number 1 overall seed in this tournament. At the beginning of the year, they had to suspend 3 players on their team because they literally all fought each other. They all hate each other. They're all transfers.
They're competitors.
Well, they're all guys who look at the plate and say, hey, I was a mid-major kid and I want to make money playing basketball. And every time my teammate makes a shot, that takes money away from me.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to watch these guys play. And you've got Bruce Pearl, who's running up and down the court, and he's fun to watch. Izzo's fun to watch. He literally said he's going to die to try and win a national title. There are different avenues that I think you have to look at it when it comes to college basketball, because if you're looking at it from I can't wait to see awesome play, I don't know how many times you're going to get to see that, save for the rare exception of a Cooper Flag type of player.
Yeah. I do like your point, too, about coaches, because next year we're going to be treated to the Pitino family
Pitino
affair
versus Pitino
2 or 3 times a year, which
will be fun.
I love it. I love everything about Rick Pitino. I love that he went to the Celtics and he wants you to forget about that.
I love that he's crazy, and him and
Yeah.
Calipari, how they
Hate
clearly
each other.
hate each other.
Absolutely
And they won't
hate
admit
each
that they
other.
hate each other.
Yes.
It's awesome.
And that Rick Pitino, stuck his tongue down a lady's throat at a restaurant and started feeling her up, and then blamed it on his inability to get over 9/11.
I forgot about that.
Dude, he's insane. He is a nutcase. He is a great coach.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yep.
He has a track record of it. Dude, last year at St. John's, that was one of my favorite college basketball stories to follow last year, was the fact that he just essed on his players constantly for the first year.
All the time.
Yeah, because he was
All
just
the
like, one, it's Rick Pitino. What are you going to do? You're going to friggin' fire him if you're St. John's? No.
He made you relevant
Yeah.
for once in the last 30 years.
Yeah. And then the other part of it is like, this guy is such a grizzled veteran at this point and has the success to back it up that, like, Rick Pitino cares not for public opinion anymore. It does not matter to him. His only objective truly is winning. And he doesn't even care about bringing basketball back to New York, I don't think. I think he's just there because he's like, look, they invited me in. It's a good conference. There's talent here in this region.
He's the guy
I'm gonna
that
get it in.
He's Joe Paterno in the fact of the minute you take basketball away from him, he will die.
He might.
So he knows
He
he
might.
has to keep doing
And
it.
he'll die in the weirdest way. I don't know how yet, but
And like a taxi driver runs him over.
he's hailing a taxi. Boom! No, we shouldn't talk about that, except we just did. All right. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2, we're going to talk about opening day to start it off. I want to hear how your Mariners did in their first series. Well, everybody's first series is still going, but you guys had a good win against the A's, and then you had a bad loss, but whatever.
Season's over.
You have encouraging signs. I'll also talk about the Orioles and how they had a historic opening day and then looked like complete crap. So all that coming in hour 2 here on the Sinner and the Saint. But next is Good versus Evil. This is Sinner and Saint on 1080 The Fan.
You would
very encouraging. I mean, I love the fight, going against the best team in the NBA. You know, very encouraging signs about how we came in with the right fight, and then also a tail end of a road trip. You know, these are games that sometimes you can be looking forward to going home, and we weren't satisfied. We wanted to progressively get better.
There's Dead Man Walking, and Grizzlies head coach, former head coach Taylor Jenkins. Unexpected coaching change in Memphis this week as the Grizzlies fired Jenkins Friday morning, despite the team being tied with the Lakers for the fourth spot in the West. Jenkins had a .539 winning percentage since being hired in 2019. He also had the most wins of any head coach in Memphis history in his first 3 years. But Grizzlies have been struggling somewhat lately. Does this move make any sense to you? It's this late in the season?
Yes, in the fact of Ja clearly hates it.
Yeah, but like...
It doesn't make sense. You should wait till the season's done. Fire him at the end of the season unless he wins an NBA title. But I feel like at this point you knew he was out. And
yeah,
it's clear
fired
that,
his staff last year, all that. Yeah.
It's clear. Ja doesn't like him, and they are going to side with Ja, which is scary. Because when Ja is in that lineup and Memphis is playing, they're awesome. The problem is Ja's never playing because he's either hurt because he's very little and he basically lives on his athleticism, or he's doing something stupid. So it's a very risky proposition. But look, KD got a coach fired last year. He's going to get a coach fired this year, and he's like ancient.
Yeah.
He's ancient. No one from his draft class is even still playing in the NBA, and if there are any, they're ancient, and they're like an eighth man. They're there for moral support. So it's a bold move to fire your coach in this spot, but also I see why it happened. I don't agree with it. The rationale is stupid, but I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really about the health and the rest of his career. So, hopefully, Dame time can, get better. How's Wemby doing? Anybody know? Any updates?
No updates, but we do know obviously out for the rest of the season. According to the Spurs, the timeline will get him back. They're optimistic he'll be ready to go by the start of next season.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, let's move on to the NBA, where Milwaukee's point guard and former point guard here, Damian Lillard's out for an indefinite amount of time because of deep vein thrombosis in his calf. This is a blood clot situation, perhaps similar to the one that has sidelined Victor Wembanyama for the rest of this season. What does this mean for the Eastern Conference, and does this ensure that Damian Lillard will most likely come back to Portland next season?
No, I don't think that it's going to bring Dame back to Portland. I also don't think it changes anything in the East. Like, if you look at the Eastern Conference right now, there's two teams that are head and shoulders above everyone else, and the Bucks weren't one of them.
Yeah.
It's the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's the Boston Celtics. And honestly, the way the last, couple weeks have gone, it might be the Boston Celtics and then the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially with what Boston, they've shown they can do it before. They're literally the defending champions, and they're awesome. And Peyton Pritchard got better than last year. You have a better scoring option there. So this doesn't change anything for me. I'm sorry to the Bucks fans. Like, when Dame went to Milwaukee, I was right there with you, man. Dame and Giannis seems like a perfect pairing, but because of different injuries or different issues that the team has had, it keeps getting older and older. And unfortunately, I know Portland fans aren't going to like this. I don't know that Dame ever gets one. I know you were kind of hoping that he was going to get one. It'd be like, hey, he did all this stuff for the city. We're going to look back at him kind of like a Dominique Wilkins type of player.
Yeah, I'm with
hey,
you.
man, they're awesome. Top 75 ever. They didn't win a title, and they're not going to for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. All right, time for my favorite story of the week, and this one comes from Idaho.
Oh, the great state. Possible.
It's all right. Okay, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I picked this one because I knew you'd be here today. Do you know that?
I didn't know that. I knew that?
Well, now you do.
I know to that.
Here's your headline. Idaho governor signs bill criminalizing public breast exposure and truck nuts.
I get the truck nuts. You should ban those. If you have truck nuts, you suck. I'm anti-truck nut, bro.
You're anti-truck nuts?
Dude,
look,
if you came up to
how else
me,
am I supposed to express to everybody that I'm heterosexual other than having a Ford F-150?
If you came up to me and you were like, we agreed on everything. we agreed on politics, religion, favorite sports teams. We were identical. And you said, yeah, man, come on, get in my truck. We're going to go grab a beer. And I walk over to your truck and you have truck nuts.
Yeah.
I will hate you forever.
You know what?
Truck nuts suck.
What do you think people are trying to communicate when they have truck nuts?
Who thinks they're cool for truck nuts?
I don't think that that's what they're communicating, that
Like,
they're cool.
I
think they're so desperately trying to assure everybody that they love women.
So they have truck nuts?
I'm not gay!
Like, I can't be.
Not gay!
I'm not gay. Look at my nuts. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Which guy is worse? Truck nuts guy?
Yeah.
Or flag guy on the back of your truck guy? Because those guys both suck, but I think I might prefer flag guy.
Back. Yeah, but okay, here's what I'll say. You bring up a good query here because both are in their own separate ways difficult to be around. But what I'll say for truck nuts guy is I'm probably not getting an earful of your beliefs.
True.
You're probably generally just a very difficult personality to be around, but I could be around it.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that. I'm a really annoying person. And so I appreciate when other people are also kind of annoying. Flag guy, I feel like you're never going to get off the topic of whatever his flag is communicating to
Right.
you.
And that's both sides.
Yeah.
If you
anything.
If
Doesn't matter.
you got a flag on your truck, you suck.
Yes. It is no
I
matter
don't
your
care.
political belief
Yep.
or sports belief. The sports flags too, the mini ones.
If it's not going to the championship parade,
Yeah. Or you're driving to the game.
or
I
you're
can respect people driving to the game and you got your little mini flag up.
or
I say,
you're
okay.
like kids. Glenwood Little League is going to
Right.
All Stars.
That's right. You got your flag
You can
up.
have the
Fair
flag.
enough.
We're fine. If you are like, it's Monday,
I'm going to work.
Which flag should I put on today?
Yeah, that's another good point to bring up.
You
It's like
suck.
you drive into work and everybody sees it. They're like, whoa, that's a statement. Now, the truck nuts, here we go. The bill was co-sponsored by these three dudes.
Squirrels.
Shocker. And one of them says, I've heard arguments on this bill that said this somehow sexualizes breasts. Now, I'm talking about boobs here. I don't think we need a bill to do that. I think that's been happening since the Garden of Eden, and it's going to continue to happen forever. Why are people so outraged by breast exposure?
Yeah. So
there's porn online. You can go watch boobs online. Like if somebody's now, I did have an
Bobs.
experience actually recently where an older woman, because I go to swim in the morning at
Yeah.
24-hour fitness, and there's an older woman that usually is in there, and she got out and literally just exposed her breasts. I think she was 65 or something. And I didn't immediately like start oogling and be like, "Whoa!" Yeah. No, I was just kind of like, oh, that's odd. And then I looked away.
I thought getting naked for long uncomfortableness was an old guy thing. I didn't know that old women.
I
were
think old
also
women do it too.
They're
yeah.
doing it too.
Yeah. And I've started to do it too in the locker room.
You've become
I'll
the
get
old
naked. I don't
guy
care.
that's just walking around.
Hey, if you want to look at it. Yeah, but that wasn't my reaction of like, oh, boobs. Like I'm offended. I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to look away from that.
Like, that's a bold choice right now. Well,
Yeah.
look, I think I'm half in, half out on this bill. I'm anti truck nuts, and those should be gone. And
Okay.
I'm pro that.
You're
If
pro
you're
boobs?
a politician and you're running on the platform of no more truck nuts, you probably get my vote. However, if you're saying no more public, we're going to call it what? Exposing?
Yeah.
For the up tops,
Uh-huh.
I might be anti you. Like, if people, like, who cares?
Yeah.
And, like, what happens if
yeah.
it's a mistake? Like, what if there's a strong wind and it blows something off or something? I don't know.
Can you be more specific?
Yeah, it's you have a tornado wind. The gorilla hail is falling down.
I do like that in tornadoes, your first priority becomes, are boobs out? That's you in a tornado. I'd love to see you in the Midwest driving around when everybody's evacuating. Get out as fast as you can. And there's you out the window looking like, whose boobs are out?
Well, I'm just trying to protect people. I don't want people to get arrested.
Who is that?
Look,
Look at that. Them boobs out.
I think as a society that we need to be more appreciative of up tops.
Okay.
And so I'm anti
You
that
got
part
me.
of the bill.
Yeah.
But I'm pro getting rid of truck nuts.
Get rid of truck nuts.
I'm pro anti-truck nut.
Yeah. Well,
What if I
I
had a
guess I'll have to
flag
take
that's-
the truck nuts off of my Prius.
What if I had a flag that said no truck nuts? Am I a better person or
I
a
think
worse
you,
person?
I think you would get a lot of positive attention if you did that. And the first of which would be from me. If I saw you driving up to the station one day and you had that flag, I would come up to you immediately and be like, that's amazing.
Flying from the back of
Yeah.
my Camry.
I think you'd get a bunch of people who'd be like, yes, this guy.
I'd
he
go
gets it."
protest outside of schools.
That's right.
No
Become-
more truck nuts.
Yeah. Become a politician.
Sign the petition. Go door to door. Hi, sir. I am asking for your support in my anti-truck nut stance.
In today's debate, we have incumbent governor of Washington, Bob Ferguson, debating from the No Truck Nuts Party. Will Ortner, as we all know, his fame came from building a custom flag on imprint.com and then putting it on his Camry and grabbing a lot of media attention.
It'd be the anti-nuts party. Have people waving the flag outside.
He speaks for my generation. All right, that's Good versus Evil. It's brought to you by our friends at 808 Hawaiian Restaurants. Go there. Their food is good.
Very good.
ATE-OH-ATE.com. Hour 2, let's talk opening day. Let's also talk about the Trailblazers. Swag had mentioned something on the golf show that they're ruining the tank, but I feel like it doesn't matter at this point. And then we'll get into a grab bag of stuff. So all that coming in hour 2 of a Will Squared edition. Sinner and Saint, 1080 The Fan.
Search
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, you got 2 games going on today in the quarterfinals of college basketball. Florida's taking on Texas Tech in the first game. Florida is favored by 6.5. Tip-off for that game is going to be at 3:09. Then at 5:49, Duke's taking on the sharpshooting Alabama Crimson Tide. That game is going to be up and down. Duke is favored by 6.5 there. Then later on Sunday, you've got the number 1 seed in the Midwest region, Houston, taking on the number 2 seed in that region in Tennessee. Houston is favored by 3.5. Tip-off for that game is going to be at 11:20. Then at 2:05, the number 1 overall seed in the tournament in the South region, Auburn Tigers, they're taking on number 2 in that region, Michigan State. Auburn is favored by 5.5 there. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Will Ortner from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's
Of the Sinner and the Saints. It's a Will Squared edition right here on 1080 The Fan. I have no idea where Luke is. I don't. In fact, I know he told me, but I didn't listen.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of the dynamic of this show. Luke talks, I don't listen, and then I say something outrageous, and then we do that for 2 hours. 2 hours, and it's been 8 years, and I think that, I think it's gone okay.
I'd say you guys are doing pretty well.
It's fine. Yeah, it works. We fill up time. The check I cash here pays for my gas.
Hey, that works. Whatever works, man.
It's all cyclical.
Whatever works for you, dude.
Opening week of the MLB season was this week, and opening day was Thursday. Ortner, you are a Mariners fan.
I am.
You guys began the season. I'll start with our teams first, and then next segment we'll kind of go to the national stories of opening day, some of the funnier ones and some of the good ones. But anyway, we'll start with the Mariners. Now, you guys have so far in your, I think you have a 4-game series with the A's.
Yep,
it's divisional,
games.
so
Yep.
4-game series. You split a game each. You guys look good in the first game. Got toasted second game. Whatever, no big deal. What did you take away?
I took away that the Mariners can't hit. We did the new fun game of how many hits did the Mariners have through 2 games, and that answer is what, exactly 10?
That's right. We did.
They got
you
to
asked
10.
me, yeah.
They got
you go,
to
there's
10.
no way they have more than 10 hits. And I go, they have 10 hits.
They have exactly 10 hits. In 2 games, they are averaging 5 hits. With the second best starting pitching staff in all of baseball. Yeah. Not good, Bob. And I know that they're eventually going to get even better in the bullpen right now after yesterday, how Saucedo pitched and Bizzardo pitched. Don't love that. That's not good when you're giving up that many runs from your bullpen. Luis Castillo comes out in his last inning of work. He gives up a 2-run bomb. That's pretty good, especially early in the season.
Yeah.
That's fine. And you're not able to even make that game close. If Jorge Polanco doesn't go off in game 1, you probably don't win that. Yeah. Randy Arozarena with maybe the most epic tying home run shot ever. Have you seen that celebration?
No.
He goes yam on a ball, and as soon as he hits it, he knows it. And no one's better at this in baseball, I think, than Randy Arozarena of, I'm going to make sure this social media clip is awesome and everyone's going to retweet it and repost it. And so as soon as he hits it, he watches the ball go out, and as soon as it goes out, he Gronk spikes his bat. That was sick. That's awesome. I love Randy Arozarena. He brings an excitement factor to the ball club. But yeah, man, I'll tell you right now, I'm definitely looking at the team glass half empty.
Yeah, you guys need some hitting, and that's kind of why I threw out the idea that you guys should give us one of your pitchers, because the Orioles didn't really have all that much of. Well, you know what? Let's get back on clock. I'm going to take a break here, and then we'll talk about this scenario, because the Orioles had a hot and cold opening day that was one of the more interesting feats, historic, and then what is going on. All that next year on the Sinner and the Saint, 1080 The Fan.
Are you curious about who
right, so we were talking about the old Mariners so far splitting games with the A's in their opening day series. And then I started talking about the O's and their historic day. Now, Tyler O'Neill, who we acquired from the Red Sox, who is as douchey as can be, but I like him now because he's on my team. He continued an opening day record, 6 opening days.
That was a fun bet to win.
With home runs. Oh, you on that?
Well, look, man, I'm a sucker for 6 in a row.
Yeah.
I'll place a bet on that. Who
Well,
cares?
he was also going up against Barrios, who, as I looked up before the game, I was like, oh, I think we're going to do well. Because he's not very good.
They're
But-
also in Toronto, short
Yeah.
porch. You guys raked.
Yeah. So we had that, win 12-2, absolutely dominate. Zach Eflin, our starting pitcher, looks really solid, good. I've always liked him a lot when we got him last year. He came over from Tampa Bay and was really good. But in around the 6th inning is when I started to think like, oh, I don't know about tomorrow, because then our bullpen came out and we are terrible. We are not good at all. Now we get our closer Felix Bautista back, who was very, very, very good for us in 23, and then got Tommy John and had to sit out 24. But our bullpen is just horrifically bad, and so we started giving up hits, and we kind of got saved from that. And then yesterday we rolled out half dead corpse Charlie Morton, 42 years old, as a starting pitcher. And it just immediately started looking bad. Now, he didn't give up a hit until the 5th. And in that, if you just read the box score, you'd go like, oh, well, whatever. And maybe he just hit a rough patch in the 5th. No, man, he had dudes in scoring position in almost every inning before that.
Just got lucky.
Got lucky. They were getting huge contact off of him. He was able to get dudes to swing at a certain point, which was fine. But it all came apart in the 5th inning. What, did you win something?
The Yankees have had 3 batters up to bat. It's the bottom of the 1st against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
What do you think the score is?
Oh, I don't know. 4-0. 3-0.
Paul Goldschmidt led off the game with a home run. Then Cody Bellinger came up to bat, and he thought what Paul did was pretty cool, so he also hit a home run.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Judge came up to bat, and Aaron Judge was like, well, if those two can do it, I probably should too.
Oh, my gosh.
And Aaron Judge hit a home run. Right now, the Yankees have had 3 batters up, they've had 3 hits, and they've hit 3 home runs.
Wow. Well, screw them.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I'd pull a guy at that point.
Yeah.
Whoever's
you would
pitching.
think you would
Well,
think
you can't. Your rotation's screwed at that point. You basically just accept you're going to lose and then say like,
you just own it. Hey, this is where we get the long relief pitcher some work, but not to derail it. That's got to be the best start to a baseball game ever, right?
I would guess, yeah.
That's
You'd feel pretty
insane.
confident your team's going to win after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's Cortez.
Oh, it's Nestor Cortez?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, he cut his hair.
What a fall from grace.
I know. And that weird pitching style. Oh, poor Nestor. That game 1 of the World Series. Let's bring Nestor Cortez in. That should be all right.
Let's see if you think he wants to do an interview? Hey, Nestor, what were you thinking after Bellinger and Goldschmidt had homered off of you? Did you think about walking anybody?
Okay, so this brings me around to my point, though. You have a lot of pitchers.
I do.
Right? Mariners have second best pitching staff. Orioles, we have the second best offense. We were, second in home runs last year. Why can't we make a deal? Gosh darn it. Why can't we give you some of our incredible infielders we have? Like, we literally had to send Kobe Mayo down to AAA, who was the number 3 prospect in MLB, because we didn't have enough room for him. Like, we are stuffed with like infielders who can rake.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have a lot of pitching. So like, why hasn't this happened yet? Why can't you give us one of your pitchers and we'll give you some prospects, and then a really good guy.
Because our owner doesn't want to pay anybody, and he knows that like if he makes a trade, one, you're not going to trade for any of our guys.
Why?
Straight up. Well, because everyone has to view like they won. There's nothing worse, especially now that the Luka Doncic trade happened. And I know it's NBA to MLB, but trust me, I'll get there. If you're a general manager and you saw the reaction after the Luka Doncic trade, because there is a rush to reaction after every trade. Who won? Who got fleeced?
Yeah.
And so whenever you're a GM, I think you're just naturally like, I don't know that I want to make this trade. I don't want to move this person. I also think there's a little bit with most of the scouting department, the owner, GM of, well, this is our guy. I identified this guy as being good. You didn't identify him as good. I did. And so I want to hold on to him. He's like my baby. And when you have a lot of young talent, like both teams do, just in different spots, a lot of those teams don't want to give it up. And for a Mariners, like let's say you trade one of the Mariners' young starting pitchers for one of the Orioles' young infielders.
Yeah. Do it.
Doesn't matter which ones, right? Let's just say it's straight up. The Mariners owner then knows he's going to have to pay that person. And I don't think that Stanton wants to pay anybody.
Oh, you don't have to pay him.
You
Kobe
will
Mayo's
eventually.
under team control
yeah.
for like ever. That's the greatest part about this. We have a new owner. Our owner just came in and started spending money. Now, given he didn't spend a lot because we didn't re-sign Anthony Santander, but we gave friggin' Tyler O'Neill like $50 million for 3 years. Like, we'll pay. We're fine doing it.
See,
we couldn't get Corbin Burns because he basically was like, I want to go to Arizona and be with my family. Like, I no longer care about winning a World Series. I just want to make a lot of money and like go home to my kids.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Fair, man.
Yeah, we offered him a lot of money.
The Mariners, but see, that's the thing. The Mariners don't want to pay. Like, I kind of think they got bullied into Cal Raleigh. And,
oh, really?
I mean, look at it. As far as MLB contracts go, like, it's a fine payment. They just hit another home run.
Dude, no. Are you serious?
Austin Wells just hit a home run.
It's the first, right?
There are 2 outs in the first. The Yankees have 4 hits, and they're all 4 solo shots.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep him out there for 5 innings, I think.
That's Wells' second home run on the year, or third.
Yeah. You can't, because you can't do this, right? This is one of the hardest parts I learned last year about baseball is because one of our young pitchers, Cade Povich, this happened to him.
Yeah, you got to leave him.
Yeah, and it's not as bad as this. This is insane.
4
solo
shots.
homers. Yeah,
3 to start the game.
He had this with the A's, and over like 3 innings, we were down like 8-0, and it was just like this game doesn't matter anymore. You just need to eat innings. Like it doesn't matter. Like we can't put more people in because this will screw up the rotation.
We'll burn everybody. Like we can't do this.
Screw it.
I'm sorry to keep derailing. This is insane.
That is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, especially when you have an Aaron Judge home run bet.
Oh, man. Look at you. How do you bet on baseball?
I usually don't.
I know, but like not, and I know that's kind of like open question, but like even like just my curiosity about
how I do it.
Well, it's got to be a full-time job, right? Like there's an intense amount of games every day, and there's so many statistical opportunities to bet on. It's like, how do you even?
Well, and baseball's really hard.
Baseball's
really hard too, because like the things where you're like, oh, that's like I'll just bet hits.
Yeah.
Well, you don't get good odds. I know like there's some people who will look at starting pitching, and baseball has a new fun bet where it's like first 5 innings, who's going to win. You can do that. I don't like betting against the spread in baseball because, again, like how random it can be. But then, so if you go to bet straight up, you're not really going to get good odds unless you like an underdog. I've like this bet. It's called the no-run first inning, or the Nerfy.
The Nerfy?
The Nerfy, yeah. And so you're betting that no team will score a run in the first inning. And the odds aren't great.
Oh, that's
they're
pretty
typically
good.
they're
What?
typically like somewhere between 120 to 150.
Oh my gosh, though, if you get like two bad, like
Yep.
you could just literally look at the calendar and be like,
Yep.
when do the Marlins and A's play?
No, 100%. There are Twitter accounts where all they do every day is tweet out the percentages on how many times this team has scored a run in the first inning versus the team that they're playing has scored, and then they also do the pitchers. And so what I typically do is I just find spots where it's, hey, they're both over 75% and both teams are over 75%. Bet. And then for one inning, you just sit there and you're like, no one score. No one score. Or you can bet the Yerfie, which is yes run first inning. That one's a little more crazier, and you're going to get different odds there. But essentially, MLB season is I still have money left over from football, and I'm just going to bet until it runs out.
Where are you putting that money? Are you just
I have money that basically in the middle of August I take, and it's like, here's my college betting fund, and here is college sports. I'm not betting my like kids' college fund. And then I have my pro betting fund, and
528, whatever it's called.
Yeah, and then I have that money, and I put it in at the beginning of August, and I ride it till I run out of money. And typically I run out around July, maybe early June.
Oh man, I wish I was more brazen with money, like you.
That's my brazen thing, man. But at the same time, they tell you to set limits. Well, here's my limit. I put that limit in, and then I just go. And
What if you were on a heater?
sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down. Every once in a while, like I'll win enough to where I pull some money out. But most of the time, it's like, I don't know. It's just fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's, like some people spend money on cars, some people spend money on toys and whatever, and I spend my money on protein shakes and sports gambling.
Man,
and
that's
pre-workout.
And you're broed out to the max, my friend.
Dude, I should be red pilled. Like the amount of people I look like a young insurrectionist. I am very into weightlifting, and I count my macros, and I care about my protein intake and my calorie intake. I'm accidentally pretty much carnivore. I'm not on the
How
carnivore
does that
diet.
happen?
Well, I just like meat.
Are you getting any broccoli? Or
Every once in a while,
any
like
salad?
Well, we have dinners for the family, and that's usually where I get it. So like on Sundays, I probably get my greens. I take a fish oil supplement. I'm on creatine, and
you gotta watch out for your heart.
I know. I work out pretty much every day, and then I go home and I gamble on sports. And I think there's a lot of the past generation that doesn't love how I attack life.
I don't think. You know what? You do you, man.
You're
not hurting anyone.
No.
That's the part of this
No.
that, like, because I know who you're talking about.
It's very broy.
Yeah,
I
but
get
you
it.
know what? Who freaking cares? You're not driving around with truck nuts.
Yep.
Throwing stuff out your window and wreaking havoc on society here. You're
Nope.
just a guy that enjoys working out, gambling on very obscure things in baseball.
The Nerfy, dude.
The Nerfy. Which now, when you're saying it, I'm like, it's really not that bad of a bet because you could just pick.
You pick 3 or 4, and you hope that you hit on
you
2 or
key in on a
3.
couple series, and you're like, I bet I could get 2 there.
Yep. And again, for like 6 outs, it's very, very fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. And I don't know, man. Like, I'm a simple guy. I'm not out here like trying to watch like here's a crazy documentary. Like, other than the Karen Reed thing, I'm not like doing that kind of stuff. I'm not watching any crazy TV shows. I just want to watch my sports, and I want to work out. And I go to bed at 9:30, and I get up at 4:30, and that's how I attack the day.
Look at you, man.
That's my life.
I get up at 5, not by choice.
See, you got to get up at 4:30 though, so then I can take all my supplements, and I can go to the gym, and I can do my cardio. Then I can go and come back, get some food, go to work, come back home, go to the gym before the games are on.
Get my gambling on.
Yeah. Yeah, my life, I lead
Hell
I lead an interesting or a very boring life depending on who you are. And I've had many people. No one ever tells me that my life's dope. There's many people that tell me that my life sucks. And then I'm like, aren't you on your third divorce?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's sick.
Yeah. Divorce is tough.
I don't like when people try and tell me what to do. I don't
Well,
like that.
man, you live your life. You live your life.
I will. I'm sorry to derail our
That's
MLB
okay.
segment with my theories on life.
That's okay. I mean, look, it's opening week. We got a lot of time. We got 60 something more games here.
Yeah.
I just want
Mariners
you
got
guys to give us
160
one of your
left.
pitchers, and I want you to take not a lot. You know, I never do this, but I do want to talk about Stephen A. Smith
Yeah,
coming
we
up.
need to.
Because this is interesting. I've never seen somebody torpedo their media career quite like this man, though I guess it makes sense because of his pride. But, I mean, this is just downright.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's gross.
So we'll talk about all that next here on a Will Squared edition of the Sinner and Saint 1080 The Fan. But first, here is some news. Hornets. Hornets are another team that are in the running for
The
one
worst.
Cooper Flag. Yeah,
Capturing
as
the flag.
They will have very good odds. Probably not as good as Washington, but right up there. LaMelo Ball, though, he is done. Season ending ankle surgery. Why isn't this team better? It's so odd to me. This is really one of the more bigger what ifs of NBA teams. Now I know I have a good answer for why, because they get arrested and they're kind of idiots. But they're so frigging talented.
Yeah,
they are. They're really frigging good.
They're talented, but they all hate each other.
Yeah, and I guess that's the problem.
And they all only care about each other. Like, it's not a team. It's a team of, dudes who have, cool skills. Like, LaMelo, you watch him. Dude's awesome. He has a higher rate of, time in possession of the ball than 2006 Kobe Bryant. He takes more shots, has the ball in his hands, and facilitates more than Kobe Bryant did.
Yeah.
Which is cool, man, your stats are awesome, but your team sucks because they all hate you because you never give them the ball.
So again, if you're Cooper Flag, your two likeliest destinations are Charlotte and Washington.
Not good, Bob.
Oh, Lordy. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Will Darkins from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Current missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Spring is on its way with
Okay. Stephen A. Smith. I don't really talk about him much. Except there is a really funny story of Luke and I a couple of years back in the old building as they were moving out, scrounging around in boxes, and we found these T-shirts that were promotional T-shirts for Stephen A.'s radio show, and it was just a silhouette of Stephen A. standing.
That's terrifying.
And Luke still uses it to this day to work out.
The fact that Stephen A. has his own like entrance stuff with ESPN.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I'm going to be here before you.
And after. Yeah, so here's the whole thing going on with Stephen A. He got some attention this week after basically this video leaked. Well, let me go back a bit. So a couple weeks ago, video leaked out of Stephen A. and LeBron pregame of a Lakers game on the court. And they were talking, and the conversation looked kind of tense. LeBron looked rather angry, and Stephen A. was just talking to him, and they kind of talked and then went away. It came out that conversation was about the fact that LeBron is basically telling Stephen A. Smith, "Hey, quit going after my kid. Stop it. I don't want to hear it. Don't talk about my kid anymore." I don't want to hear that. But it got worse as Stephen A. went on First Take, and he kind of doubled down, if you will.
He talked for 17 minutes at the start of the show about how dare LeBron attack him. It was his manifesto. He just didn't write it down. Like, if LeBron James dies, Stephen A. Smith should be the first and main suspect.
Yeah, and so it was more to the point that Stephen A. brought up, and here's kind of the quote, saying, here's Stephen A. on the show saying, "I never brought up really and never really discussed why you were not at Kobe Bryant's memorial service. I never really brought up or discussed why you didn't attain Dwayne Wade's Hall of Fame induction when that man was directly responsible for you capturing a championship for the first time in your career." And I think those are the two kind of points that people are now kind of being like, are you okay, dude? Now, look, on a certain level, I do respect Stephen A. Smith. And the reason I do that is because he has leaned into an act.
Yeah.
And he works incredibly hard at that act. He is literally on air all the time. I don't agree with pretty much anything he says or his whole gist. I think it is dumb, and I think ESPN as a programming experiment is dying because most people, unless you're, 18 to 21, don't find it appealing to listen to just people shout about sports takes at each other on television.
Here's the thing, they don't either. Like,
yeah, and I guess they're not either at this point.
Well, here's the thing, Gen Z doesn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm Gen Z.
Yeah.
The thing that ESPN is looking at the wrong things, and Fox did for years with Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
They looked at social media interactions. If you looked at the viewership that Skip used to get on that stupid Skip and Shannon show,
yeah, this is weird.
They got no viewers. They should have been gotten rid of a long time before. That show should have been canceled, and they should have moved on to different projects. But the thing that they would lean on is, well, look at social media. Yeah. I just did $5 million on a take that I had. And here's the thing. You did $5 million on a take that you had because people hate watched it. People aren't watching it and being like, that guy rocks.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love the character. People listen to it. Skip Bayless. It's the easiest LeBron James finish of all time. And people get on Twitter and look at it and at that tweet and then send it to the buddies and go, look at Skip being a jerk. But here's the thing. The bit is over because everybody knows what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting that ESPN has positioned themselves like this. So, I mean, kind of to wrap that around the whole Stephen A. thing, right? Stephen A. has now kind of gotten to an ego point that he believes he is deserved respect as a media member.
He's the main character.
Yeah, he's the main character. And though I do respect his grind and his work ethic, I do not respect him as a actual well-opinionated journalist. Yeah, I don't view anything he says as important or as vital for the sports media landscape. And so what's interesting is that ESPN is starting to make these moves now that would indicate to you that they're just going to lean into the worst devices that fans have when they consume sports media, which is, we're going to feed you the S that you so desire. Because otherwise, all these other shows, say like Outside of the Lines, which is really great investigative journalism, which I think they canceled it. Around the Horn, which is usually a good show because it's just taking some journalists and asking their opinions about the day's work, and it's usually kind of funny and good. And hopefully not PTI, but it seems like they probably will get PTI too. They're snuffing out all of these forms of media and sports journalism that make viewing and consuming sports great because it carries a narrative. It carries a narrative, and it makes you feel like that you are kind of caught up on a story and caught up on a timeline of what sports is. That's what's so great. Another thing that's so great about all sports is there's always a narrative going along with either a team or a player. The problem is that ESPN is leaning into the toxicity of just emotional reactions. Stephen A. Smith doesn't really have valid opinions. He has reactions.
Right.
And so they have realized that most people, they have data out there, obviously, because they're leaning into it. Most people will pay for a service to listen to him, to watch him, and to consume whatever he's talking about. They just got rid of their contract. They ended 2 years early their contract with the MLB because there wasn't enough drama really around it. ESPN's viewership of Sunday Night Baseball has steadily risen every single year of the contract. Major League Baseball's demographic of media viewers, 18 to 35, have risen. And so, am I going to say they don't have problems? Of course they do have problems, but ESPN has basically just said anything that is actually sports other than the NFL, I do not want to take part in. I don't want any part of it. In fact, the NBA, we're now starting to question if that was a good idea that we did that. They're putting up a $2 billion bid this week to buy NFL Network. That should tell you everything you need to know. ESPN is reading the tea leaves in United States sports and going, nobody cares about anything except the NFL and college football.
Yep.
That's it.
That's a little bit of what they're doing, but what they're also doing, and maybe they're pivoting away from this, is they wanted all the live sports. Like when you think about a live sports aspect, like even if they don't really care that much about college basketball, and you can tell that they don't really care that much about college basketball, they still have all the games. So you're going to go and tune in. And I think that is where their genius is, because them going out and getting all of the games makes you and I have to go and watch. And that's going to drive up their viewership. And then they just fill in the unlive sports time with other things. Like right now, they have all the NHL games, or most of them. They have a bunch of basketball games. They have all of the college baseball games. They have all of the college basketball games. They have all of the college football games. And they get a couple NFL games. They're going to get a freaking Super Bowl here soon, right? So ESPN has been smart in the fact of, let's go out and get all the live sports. Where I have an issue with them filling things in is you went with a crew originally, I think, like right around the COVID time, of you're doing the investigative journalism, but you're also throwing in a little bit of real world things into it. And I think at times you have people, and I would include myself in this, and this probably is a dumb thing, but it is a true thing about me. If I'm watching sports, I just want to watch sports.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
don't care about the outside world. I don't care about religion. I don't care about politics. I don't care about what the weather's like outside. I really don't care if I'm watching sports. And so that would turn people off from talking about things other than just sports, where you could go to a Stephen A, you could go to a Skip Bayless, and while it is the lowest common denominator of sports, all they talked about was sports. And what Stephen A and Skip and Shannon and, you know, insert new name here, they do a great job of eliciting a reaction. Now, most of the time it's a negative reaction, but they do elicit a reaction from people all across the country. And so while you had people tuning out of certain shows, you had people tuning into these shows. And ESPN saw that and said, well, they're doing better numbers, and they're doing better numbers on social media, and that's where young people are consuming it. And so now they keep propping it up and propping it up. I do hope that you're at a point now, though, where the viewership switches and they go, hey, man, when I watch sports, I want just sports, but I don't want yelling at each other at the bar sports. I don't want yelling at each other in the barbershop sports where it's MJ's the best, no LeBron's the best. I'm over that. I don't care about that. I want you to talk about the biggest sports story that's going on right now, and I want you to have opinion on it, and whether I agree or disagree, I want you to have facts. I want it to be rooted in substance. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the podcasts really start to jump off. I mean, even Colin's doing this to a degree where he'll save his stuff for the volume. Bill Simmons is getting more and more popular. Ryan Russillo, the Barstool guys, pardon my take. And they all go at it in their own way. They all do it in, you know, Russillo's more serious and I watched all the games. And Simmons is a little more unhinged. And the Barstool guys are, good luck with that. You know, that's going to go all over the place. But they do a good job of talking about the sports, and it's an actual conversation as to opposed to I'm right, you're wrong, and you're a moron because you're wrong.
No, and you know, the other kind of thing he put his foot in, you remember the Ohtani thing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, just right now with LeBron.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about how you didn't go to Kobe's funeral. First of all, that's gross and disgusting. Second of all, he was there.
Yeah, and then Ohtani, he basically said, like, this is really difficult because I think he made an interesting point with Ohtani, but he just went into discriminatory waters.
Yep.
Where he was basically saying, like, because you don't speak English, nobody will
care about you.
The only thing I thought was interesting about it was I go, well, there hasn't been a great track record of people who don't speak English and get marketed very well in the United States, but I would like to see it. And baseball's actually doing a pretty good job with Ohtani. He's being marketed incredibly. And my case study was Yao Ming, which, as much as people want to try to throw that in my face, Yao Ming was not appealing. He just wasn't.
He's a wet blanket. I mean,
Yes.
Ichiro
He had
has
no
this
personality.
Too. Ichiro has this too. Like, he has moments where it's like, dang, he's really funny. But he also, like, for the most part, like,
he's about ball. That's his thing. That's what he does. And he wasn't appealing. And so when you have that mixed of like, hey, you don't speak the language here and you're not appealing, yeah, it's probably going to be hard to market you. Shohei Ohtani is a friggin' stud, and he acts like one, and he carries himself.
And he's a star.
Yeah, and he's a star, and he's being marketed everywhere. Not only to youth with the new Fortnite skin thing, but also he's basically uplifted New Balance's brand that now you have other major league players that are actually wearing New Balance stuff. Like, and this is what's so difficult about Stephen A. Smith is that when he talks about these things and he makes controversial statements, there always is kind of like a kernel of, okay, that's an interesting discussion, but he can't resist digging into and bringing out the worst impulses in people in just bad knee-jerk opinions.
Yep.
LeBron James. It's a good point to talk about how LeBron James is basically allowing nepotism to run rampant in the Lakers organization. Because it is stupid. They wasted a friggin' pick on a guy who's a first round pick, a guy who isn't even really playing well in the G League. A team that desperately needed a first round pick to help them out. Maybe draft a center. And they wasted it on LeBron's kid. Yeah, that was stupid. but maybe don't, roll that into, hey, you didn't go to Kobe Bryant's funeral, and I'm going to lie about that and be kind of a scuzz.
Well, I think the other thing with Stephen A, you'll see it with all of our media right now. It's all lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
If you look at like the big national people, if you want to dive into the politics, if you want to dive into the sports, if you want to dive into culture or just anything like that, who are the people right now that get the most views? It's the people that get that elicit the most reaction. And the problem is that most of the time, those people that elicit reaction, it's because of an anger or it's because of a staunch defense of it, right? And I hope that we go back to a more, let's have a conversation. You and I can disagree, right?
Yeah.
You and I would. There's plenty of things we disagree, sports, whatever. But we can have a fun conversation about it and still like each other at the end. And we don't feed into this cycle of I'm right, you're wrong, and because you're wrong, you're a moron. And
I won the debate.
Right. And Stephen A, look, man, it's a little less harmful because it is sports.
Yeah.
And trust me,
all sports.
You're not a guy that's out here, or I'm not a guy that's out here consuming as much political takes as possible. But when I do, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff, Ortner.
I try to have moments of
you jerk
okayness.
Shut up. I won that argument.
You're right.
Coming up next.
Truck
How
nuts
well? Oh, no,
forever.
this is the good social post. Darken smokes Ortner with his sizzling take.
Got to get the alliteration in there.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this thing up with what to watch. That's coming up next here on the Sinner and the Saint, 1080 The Fan.
It's
headlines on 1080 The Fan.
What are you watching, Will?
I'm gonna be watching all of the college basketball, dude. Can't wait.
Nice. I'm gonna watch the Orioles rest of the series with the their Blue Jays. All right, next week. Luke's back, pretty sure. Talk to you then. Love you. Bye.
And that's to laugh and smile and dance. In a dance. Don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle.
Searching